Chapter 72. With Sarah taking care of Si Wenxin, she was happy to be free. She chatted with the designers from time to time and focused on eating the rest of the time. Because of this dinner, she had been feeling uneasy the whole day and had no appetite. She did not eat much and now she was really hungry. When she raised her head to drink water, she found that Si Wenxin was looking at her with a faint smile. But in just a second he continued to talk with Sarah, and his eyes were all on Sarah. Therefore Shi Shujing was not sure if she was seeing things. Her heart skipped a beat and her fingers trembled. After a while, when she was picking the fish, a voice suddenly asked, "The fish here tastes good?" Shi Shujing's attention fell on her for no reason. She opened her mouth in confusion. Sarah was very attentive. "Do you want to eat? Let me help you." Si Wenxin shook his head and pondered. "I just feel that the fish must taste good when I see Manager Shi eating so attentively." Shi Shujing was shocked and the fish bone was stuck in her throat. She endured the pain and smiled awkwardly. "Not bad. Speaking of which, we can have dinner today thanks to Manager Shi's persistence. Your perseverance has won my respect. Let me propose a toast to you." Shi Shujing was suffering from the fish bone, but she did not dare to embarrass Si Wenxin, so she drank half a glass of red wine with him. But Si Wenxin felt that it was not enough. If he wanted to propose a second toast to her, Shi Shujing would be in a difficult position. Red wine is meant to be tasted. It's a waste to drink it too quickly. "A toast to Manager Shi is not a waste at all," Si Wenxin squinted her eyes and said meaningfully. Under her thick eyelashes, her eyes were deep and beautiful, so dark that they could see straight into people's hearts. "I can't hold my liquor well? Manager Shi, you are being modest. I have seen your liquor capacity. 1 or 2 glasses of red wine is not a problem for you." With so many people watching, if Shi Shujing refused, it would be too insensible. He could only bite the bullet and drink another cup. When it came to the 3rd cup, he really couldn't drink any more. He shook his head, indicating that he couldn't hold his liquor. Seeing this, Sarah offered to drink for her, but Si Wenxin refused. "This glass of wine must be drunk by Manager Shi personally." He said this with a smile, still calm and elegant, like a beautiful gentleman, but his eyes contained a cold luster. The tip of his eyebrows was cold and uncompromising, making Sarah's heart tremble, not daring to say anything more. He held the goblet in his hand and stared at her with a faint smile on his face. Shi Shujing knew he couldn't escape, so he gritted his teeth and raised his head to gulp it down. He drank too quickly and started coughing violently, causing his face to turn red. The stylist beside her hurriedly handed her a tissue, smoothed her back and softly expressed his concern. "Are you all right?" Shi Shujing shook his head, stood up, and said that he needed to go to the washroom before leaving. Si Wenxin sat where he was and slowly took a sip of the red wine. He felt the mellow taste of the wine swirling in his mouth and sliding down his throat, causing a burning sensation. In his deep and mysterious smiling eyes, there was a hint of coldness hidden within. Shi Shujing rushed to the washroom and lay on the toilet bowl uncomfortably, unable to vomit anything out. She wasn't drunk, but she drank too quickly just now, and now her throat and stomach were on fire, making her feel very uncomfortable. After struggling for a long time, she finally spat out the fish bone in her throat. She raised her head uncomfortably, gasping for air like a fish out of oxygen. She walked to the mirror and washed her hands. In the mirror, her eyes were red, probably because she had choked earlier. She carefully wiped her eyes with a tissue and tidied up her hair. The uncomfortable feeling was gone, but the alcohol was slowly getting stronger. Shi Shujing's cheeks began to turn red and hot, so red that they were a little swollen, and her eyes narrowed into a line. In this situation, she just wanted to leave everything behind and go home directly. But tonight, she was responsible for it and she had to hold on no matter what. Shi Shujing walked out of the washroom and bumped into Si Wenxin. He was standing in the corridor with his back against the wall, holding a cigarette in one hand and puffing out smoke. His stature was extremely tall and took up a large area. He was extremely eye-catching, and a long windbreaker of superior quality wrapped around his well-built physique. The face that was revealed was fair and beautiful. Even though it was somewhat arrogant and unreasonable, his expression was magnanimous and elegant. He was well-dressed, eye-catching, and beautiful. People passing by couldn't help but turn back to look at him a few times, unable to take their eyes off him. Shi Shujing was a little angry with him, but she still greeted him. "Why did you come out?" Si Wenxin licked his lips, his eyes clear and sharp. "I was worried about you, so I came out to have a look." Shi Shujing felt that it was funny. Who was the person who made her drink just now? Didn't he feel that it was too fake to worry about her after drinking her? There was a hint of sarcasm in his words. Based on Boss C's understanding of me, can those 3 glasses of wine make me drunk? Tonight's dinner was carefully arranged by you. Isn't it too impolite if I don't toast you 3 glasses? The meaning behind his words was very deep, coupled with that meaningful smile. Shujing couldn't help but think about it. For a moment, she realized that his behavior just now was very likely to be deliberately messing with her, because she arranged Sarah for him. But he was clearly very satisfied, wasn't he? How enjoyable it was when they were chatting. So what was this? Still pretending to be obedient after getting a bargain? Looking for trouble with her? The alcohol went to her head and her ears were buzzing. Shujing didn't have the brain capacity to guess what he was thinking. I'll go in first. Her whole body felt light and her legs turned to jelly. The next second she felt a tightness around her waist and she was already in his arms. It just happened to meet his strong and distinct jaw, which was as clear and sharp as the outline of a brush. The lines were very sexy, and her breath was filled with his domineering masculine scent. One is not enough, give one for free? His deep laughter came into her ears. Shujing shrank a little and when she looked up she met his playful eyes. She felt frightened and struggled for a while. You, let go. In the corridor where people were coming and going he was so close to her as if he was using his arms to isolate another space. There were only the 2 of them in this space and it made her forget everything around her. She only felt that the atmosphere and the air were so oppressive, making her restless. Let go. However, Si Wenchen held her waist with one hand and refused to let go. That's Sarah. Was it you who arranged for me? Shujing's throat trembled. His tightly pursed thin lips and the cold light hidden deep in his eyes scared her. Because she couldn't figure out what he meant, she denied it when her mind was in a mess. No, it's not. Oh? Are you sure it's not a gift that you carefully prepared for me? Shujing felt the strength of his fingers increasing. Obviously, he saw through her lies and insisted on the truth. In fact, he also knew the truth, but he just wanted her to admit it herself. Shujing trembled. It's the company's arrangement? But you know it very well, right? Shujing didn't say anything, which meant that he agreed. But you're very satisfied with such an arrangement, right? She was quite resistant to his embrace. That warm body temperature, that familiar sense of intimacy, kept fermenting between the 2 of them. When he lowered his head and whispered in her ear, his breath sprayed on her cheek. The tipsy feeling of both of them entangled with each other, burning and burning her whole body. Under the influence of alcohol, she kept recalling that intense kiss, as if her soul had been emptied by him. At the same time, the image of him whispering intimately to Sarah appeared. This man could be so intimate with any woman. She was just one of his many women. She really didn't like this feeling. The same embrace, the same gentleness applied to everyone. She felt nauseous. You think that I like Sarah? Isn't it? She's beautiful and sensible and she admires you so much. Shujing breathed out the scorching smell of alcohol. Her mind was dizzy and she started to speak without thinking. Which man wouldn't like her? What you said makes sense, Si Wenchen smiled, revealing his white fangs. His handsome face had a cruel beauty, but at the same time, there was a kind of sorrowful gentleness. He pinched her chin. Women should be like her. No man would like a hedgehog like you. Her chin that was pinched by him was burning hot, and Shujing's breathing was uneven. As long as you like it. Since your company wants to send a woman to me, why not you? I'm in charge of discussing the project with you, not a gift. Why not? If you're willing to accompany me, I'll sign the contract right now. I don't need Sarah or any other woman. You're enough. Wouldn't it save a lot of effort? If she insisted that she was not for sale, his words would humiliate her and she would probably be mocked by him. Shujing endured it. Anyway, this is the company's arrangement. It's best if you're satisfied. If not, I have no other way. You make it sound like you have no choice? But I think that you're also thinking of using her to get rid of me. Do you think you're so smart? When the 2 of them were in close contact, Si Wenchen seemed to have changed into a completely different person. His true nature was revealed, frivolous, and his voice was low and hoarse. What? Am I so annoying that you're willing to use other women to get rid of me? Shujing was probably drunk at this moment and had enough of his teasing, so she asked back boldly. If I say yes, will you stay away from me? Si Wenchen did not speak and only smiled. That smile made Shujing's hair stand on end and she felt uneasy. She did not know what he was up to. Since this gift is carefully prepared for me, then I'll accept it. He suddenly let go of her and left, as if the man who was so warm and affectionate with her just now was not him. Shi Shujing was shocked. She clutched her chest and panted heavily. He took away the heat and her body instantly turned cold. It was as if there was wind constantly pouring into her body. It was chilly and the cold and hot alternated. Her forehead was covered in sweat and her face was pale. Not long after they returned to the private room, Si Wenchen said that he wanted to leave and Sarah followed him. Chapter 73. Manager Shi, are you all right? Sarah asked with concern. Shi Shujing felt a little dizzy and shook her head. I'm fine. How about we send you back? No need. I can walk back alone. It's too dangerous for you to be drunk. Sarah got out of the car and insisted on sending her home with great enthusiasm. It was hard for Shi Shujing to refuse. She closed her eyes and rested along the way. The car bumped and bumped, making her drowsy and sleepy. She heard a sentence in a daze. Here we are. She opened her eyes and found that she had arrived at Gao Zhuqing's place. Then she remembered that she forgot to tell him the address when she got on the car. But Si Wenchen also knew where Qing's house was. He must have sent her here on purpose. Shi Shujing got out of the car and watched them drive away. Then she went upstairs. She had no energy to do anything tonight and didn't want to transfer to go home. Gao Zhuqing was not at home. She went into the guest room and threw herself on the bed. She began to have a headache. She took out 2 painkillers and stuffed them into her mouth and swallowed them. So tired, not long after lying down her phone rang. Shi Shujing closed her eyes and touched it. She put it to her ear, frowned and hummed weakly. Hello, where are you? Was a rude question. It was obvious that it was Qin Baiyuan. Shi Shujing felt very annoyed. Gao Zhuqing's house. You used that woman as a cover again. Aren't you entertaining Mr. C tonight? With him? No. I came back alone. Liar. I don't believe you. Believe it or not, Shi Shujing was also annoyed. She was not in the mood to argue with him at this time. She simply turned off her phone and went to sleep. In the presidential suite on the top floor of the Empire Hotel. Si Wenchen stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the brightly lit city beneath his feet. In this bustling city, 20% of the industry belonged to the Ocean Group. He was the master of the entire city, sitting on immeasurable wealth. Only he was qualified to stand at the top of this city. The goblet was filled with red liquid. He lit a cigarette and looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him through the smoke. It was so prosperous that it didn't seem like the human world. However, behind this prosperity, there was only cold money and no human feelings. He had always believed that money was omnipotent. There was nothing that money could not buy, including women. He did not need to buy them. There would be women throwing themselves at him. It was up to him whether he wanted them or not. Mr. C, I'm done. He smoked and turned back. The young girl was wrapped in a bathrobe. Her skin was fair and her legs were slender. Her eyes were a little shy, but it was hard to conceal her excitement. That beautiful body was like a pure lamb trembling. In Si Wenchen's eyes there was only coldness. Shi Shujing slept until dawn. When she woke up the next day, she found that Gao Zhuqing hadn't come back all night. She guessed that he was working overtime at the magazine office. She ate a light breakfast downstairs and went to work. The painkillers worked. After waking up, Shi Shujing didn't feel any discomfort. She was busy the whole morning as usual. At 12 o'clock, she went to the staff cafeteria for lunch. After buying the food, she saw a girl waving at her from afar. She took a closer look and found that it was Sarah, who asked her to sit with her. After working in the company for 2 years, Shi Shujing was isolated for 2 years. She ate alone every day. Over time, although she was used to it, Sarah's enthusiasm still warmed her heart. She walked over and sat opposite her, smiling. What a coincidence! For a moment she felt all kinds of surprised and disdainful eyes around her. After this time, Sarah was likely to be isolated. Shi Shujing felt a little guilty. She didn't want to get her into trouble, but Sarah was so enthusiastic that she felt embarrassed to refuse. Seeing that there were only a few leaves on her plate, Shi Shujing asked, "You're eating this for lunch?" "Yes. I'm on a diet." "You're so thin and you're still on a diet." "I have no choice. My job is very demanding on my figure. I can't put on any weight, so I can only strictly control it. But I eat very little abroad, so it doesn't matter." Sarah put a lettuce leaf in her mouth. Shi Shujing thought that it was really not easy for her. If it were her, she would definitely faint if she didn't eat her fill after working so hard for a day. After eating and chatting for a while, Shi Shujing asked hesitantly, You went back with Boss C last night? Yes. You guys, are you going to ask if we've had sex? Sarah was a straightforward person and asked directly. Her eyes were very clear, and she seemed to have no shrewdness in her heart. Shi Shujing, on the other hand, was a little embarrassed and stammered. We've had sex. Shi Shujing's hand froze. This was both within her expectation and unexpected. Of course, it was more unexpected. After all, she didn't think that Si Wenxin could be with any woman. After all, she still didn't understand men and she overestimated her charm. Although Si Wenxin gave her the illusion that she was very special to him, that was probably a way for men to confuse women. In his eyes, women were all the same. There was no difference. She shouldn't be so self-righteous. She was still too naive. Boss C is very gentle, Sarah said with a tone of infatuation. He's handsome, gentlemanly, considerate and careful. He's the fantasy of all women. Shi Shujing agreed with this point, but she didn't know why she felt a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, it wasn't very strong. This kind of emotion was probably called disappointment. It was quite funny, but it was more or less a little. Will you guys continue to meet? I think so. I think he has that intention. Sarah held her face, her eyes full of expectation. I really hope he can fall in love with me because I've fallen deeply in love with him, but I know I'm dreaming. He can't fall in love with me. Have some confidence in yourself. You're so beautiful, there's no reason for him not to love you. But he's so outstanding, and there are so many girls around him who are more beautiful than me. Besides, this job of mine. To put it bluntly, I'm just a gift from the company to him. Sarah was a little depressed and looked at Shi Shujing worriedly. Will you look down on me? Why would I? As long as I can support myself with my own ability, I'm worthy of respect. You're too good. Sarah suddenly became happy again. I know they all look at me with colored glasses, and the company also treats me as a tool to be used, but you're different. You're really good to me, I can feel it. Shi Shujing felt very guilty. In fact, she had more or less used her to get out of trouble and she was not honest. Actually, I'm not as good as you say. You are. I like you very much. Can we be good friends? This kind of feeling was very strange to Shi Shujing, and because it was strange, it became very precious. It wasn't that she didn't know that Sarah was Su Zhixian's spy, but as long as she kept a distance from Si Wenxin, Sarah wouldn't be able to get anything on her, so there was no need to be too guarded against her. After working for 2 years, she still knew how to judge people. Sarah was simple and straightforward, not the same kind of person as Su Zhixian. She was worthy of being friends with, so she nodded. Okay. As long as you don't mind becoming a public enemy with me in the future, I'll be happy to. I don't care what they think, as long as I have a good friend like you, it's enough. The phone vibrated and Sarah picked it up and looked at the text message. She was overjoyed. Mr. C will come over in the afternoon. Shi Shujing didn't expect that Si Wenxin would send text messages. She thought that his phone only had one function, which probably showed that he really liked Sarah. Last night, he pressed her in the corner and said that as long as he had her, he didn't need to look for other women as if she was very special, but in the end, didn't he still sleep with Sarah? So, men's words really couldn't be trusted. No one would push away a woman who came to the door, and Si Wenxin was no exception. No. He was even more hateful than those men. At least those men didn't hide their feelings at all, but he had to pretend to be arrogant. Shi Shujing also didn't know why the fact that he had slept with Sarah would always bother her and make her lose the mood to work. In fact, it was definitely a good thing for her. He had the young and beautiful Sarah, so he didn't have time to pester her anymore. So, when he came to the company, he directly contacted Sarah instead of going through her. In the afternoon, Shi Shujing originally wanted to go to the public relations department, but when she thought that Si Wenxin might be there, she gave up the idea. In short, she now avoided him as much as she could, and didn't want to have any contact with him outside of work. These days, she was busy with the dinner party and hadn't had time to look at the new plan. Shi Shujing was studying it carefully. The door was slammed open with a bang. Qin Baiyuan rushed in a hurry, looking like he was going to denounce her. Where did you spend the night last night? This question seemed to come out of his mouth a lot recently. Shi Shujing furrowed her brows and found it funny. They had been married for more than 1,000 days and nights, and he had never treated her as his wife. Did he take the wrong medicine or lose his mind recently? Why was he so concerned about her and stared at her every day? You seem to like to ask about my whereabouts at work. Last night, I told you on the phone that I was at Gao Zhuqing's house. Did you not hear it clearly or can't remember it? The way she spoke made Qin Baiyuan feel uncomfortable. He was already filled with anger and now it was even more intense. Don't use Gao Zhuqing as a cover every time. She is not a good person. Didn't you have a dinner with Mr. C last night? What happened after that? Did you go home with him? Or did you use Gao Zhuqing's house as a hotel and hide there to sleep? The angrier he was, the calmer Shi Shujing was. She was too lazy to argue with him all the time. It was too tiring and it was harmful to the body. No wonder you hung up the phone after a few words. What? Were the two of you busy at that time? Did I call at the wrong time? Did I hinder your good time? What nonsense are you talking about? I drank a lot at that time and had a headache, so she was trying to explain, but when Qin Baiyuan heard it, his face became even uglier. You drank? So, you mean that you were fooling around after drinking? Or was it the same every time before? Chapter 74. He kept accusing her of betrayal. Even if she really betrayed him, Qin Baiyuan was the last person who was qualified to scold her. I did entertain Mr. C last night, but I was not alone. There were colleagues from the design department and the public relations department. Someone was indeed with him, but it was not me. Qin Baiyuan frowned and was doubtful. Not you. Who else was there? Don't be so mysterious. If you want to know, you can ask Manager Sue. She knows the ins and outs of the matter better and can explain it to you better. Just say it. Why do you have to ask her in a roundabout way? Shi Shujing knew Qin Baiyuan's temper well. He was like a bully in front of her and would not give up until he got a satisfactory answer. Shi Shujing was about to explain patiently when someone knocked on the door. Sarah came in and nodded to Qin Baiyuan. Qin Baiyuan's eyes changed and there was a flash of interest. Shi Shujing saw it and mocked him. He really loved every woman he met. As long as it was a beautiful woman, he would be interested in it. But this time his idea might fail. Sarah was now Si Wenqin's woman. He really couldn't afford to provoke her. Manager Shi, are you busy? No, what's the matter? I'm showing Mr. C around the company. He said he wanted to come to your office. Shi Shujing was definitely unwilling to receive Si Wenqin, especially when Qin Baiyuan was present. It was troublesome. Sure enough, as soon as Qin Baiyuan heard this, he forgot about the beauty in front of him. He immediately looked at Shi Shujing with a look of disdain. He was clearly saying, your lover has come knocking on your door, let's see how you deny it. In this situation, if Shi Shujing refused, he would look guilty. Moreover, this was the company after all. She couldn't refuse any work request, so she nodded. Invite him in. Okay. Sarah happily went to call him. As soon as Si Wenqin walked into the office, the whole room was lit up. While it was brighter, it also made the atmosphere more depressing. Of course, this was only for Shi Shujing. Si Wenqin had a strong magnetic field. To other women he was attractive. To her, of course, he was attractive, but more than that, she felt pressured. It was already cramped enough. With Qin Baiyuan's presence, Shi Shujing didn't know where to put his hands. Calming herself down, she put on the most professional posture and stepped forward to greet him. Just as she was about to shake hands with him, Qin Baiyuan quietly stood in front of her and held Si Wenqin's hand with 5 fingers. Mr. C, we meet again. Si Wenqin saw through Qin Baiyuan's intention and smiled. Nice to meet you. He replied indifferently. This was purely out of respect for Shi Shujing. If it wasn't for this, he wouldn't even bother shaking hands with Qin Baiyuan. Qin Baiyuan took a step back and put his arms around Shi Shujing's waist. Feeling her slight struggle, his arms tightened, but his face was still calm. Mr. C, you are busy every day. What brings you here? I met with your company's team yesterday. Today I come to see the situation. Mr. C really thinks highly of our blue sky. The cooperation has not been finalized, but you pay so much attention to it. You have spent a lot of energy. Si Wenqin's eyes fell on Shi Shujing quietly. Others couldn't see it, but as a man, Qin Baiyuan could see the thoughts in Si Wenqin's eyes clearly. And in fact, Si Wenqin didn't hide it. He never concealed his interest in Shi Shujing. This was a great insult to Qin Baiyuan, which showed that Si Wenqin didn't take him seriously at all. Qin Baiyuan didn't get angry. When 2 men fought for a woman, the violent one completely lost. No matter what shameful things Si Wenqin and Shi Shujing had done behind their backs, at least within the scope of marriage, Shi Shujing was still his wife. In this regard, he temporarily had the advantage and there was no need to get angry with an adulterer. Thinking of this, Qin Baiyuan smiled lightly again, showing his beautiful white teeth. He lowered his head and kissed Shi Shujing's hair. What a coincidence, I also came down to read books. Although we have been married for 3 years, I still love her very much. Every day when I work, I think of her and can't help but come down to see her several times. I can't wait to take her with me. I can only feel at ease when I see her all the time. Qin Baiyuan's acting skills were first class, but it was the truth. Even Sarah could see that he was pretending to be in love. The relationship between the two husband and wife had long been understood by everyone in the company. She felt a little sympathy for Shi Shujing. Si Wenxin twitched the corner of his mouth. I think the one at the dinner party needs manager Qin's care more. After all, she is pregnant with your child? Qin Baiyuan's face stiffened, and his smile became a little ugly. The corner of his mouth twitched, but he held back. That day was just a misunderstanding. Oh? It doesn't look like a misunderstanding, but it seems to be true. Seeing that President Qin and his wife have such a good relationship, I have to remind you that if there are too many scandals, fake ones will also become real. President Qin, you still have to consider Manager Shi's feelings. After all, she is a very charming woman. If you don't know how to cherish her, many men will be willing to love her for you. Qin Baiyuan was severely provoked, and it didn't look good for him. What was more hateful was that he couldn't afford to offend Si Wenxin, at least not now. Even if he was threatened, Qin Baiyuan could only swallow his anger and find a way out. Thank you for reminding me, Mr. Si. Shi Shujing is my wife, my baby. I will definitely love her and never let anyone with bad intentions have a chance to take her away. That's better. But in my opinion, it's not an easy thing. Marriage is like a man's career. It's easy to marry a woman, but it's very difficult to keep that woman, Si Wenxin said meaningfully. Qin Baiyuan listened to his words and faintly felt a little uneasy, as if his marriage with Shi Shujing was about to break up. Of course, he still wanted a divorce, but the premise was that he dumped Shi Shujing, and she didn't betray him for Si Wenxin. With his self-esteem, he absolutely couldn't accept such a thing, and he would go crazy. Shi Shujing could hear that Si Wenxin was constantly provoking Qin Baiyuan. He was secretly anxious and complained that his brain was not normal. Now that he had Sarah, it was good, wasn't it? Was it necessary to provoke Qin Baiyuan again? What did he want to do? Mr. C, my office is only so big. You've already visited it, so don't waste your time here. Sarah will take you to visit the design department. She had asked him to leave, so Si Wenxin didn't want to embarrass her too much. Just like at the dinner party, he should stop before going too far. Okay. See you next time. Goodbye. Shi Shujing was held by Qin Baiyuan and couldn't move. She could only watch Si Wenxin leave. Her tense body didn't completely relax until the moment the door was closed. However, before the first wave subsided, another wave arose. As soon as Si Wenxin left, Qin Baiyuan became angry again. After solving the problem of Si Wenxin, there was only Qin Baiyuan left. As soon as the former left, the latter immediately pinched her arm angrily. You heard what he said just now. How dare you say that there is no adultery between you? Shi Shujing opened her mouth in pain and didn't know how to explain. Previously, she could still muddle through, but Si Wenxin's words just now were full of provocation, so she couldn't defend herself. In addition to the forceful kiss, she really couldn't be in the right. Let go of me. It hurts? Aren't you very powerful? Why don't you argue? Anyway, my relationship with him is not what you think. Shi Shujing twisted her wrist twice. I just said that he brought a woman home last night. It was Sarah just now. Qin Baiyuan frowned in surprise. Of course he didn't want to believe it. He tried to find any lies from her eyes, but he couldn't find any, so he was dubious. Don't try to fool me. I didn't. If you don't believe me, you can ask Su Jixin for proof. Moreover, Sarah admitted that they had slept together. Si Wenxin didn't like me but her. Qin Baiyuan was conflicted. Then what did he mean by coming all the way here to say those words? Do you think he has nothing better to do? I don't know. Shi Shujing grimaced in pain and used her other hand to break his fingers. Maybe he just can't stand you and finds you annoying. What did you say? I'm annoying? How am I annoying? How are you not annoying? I've never seen such a barbaric person like you. Qin Baiyuan sneered. Yes, I'm a barbaric person. Si Wenxin is the most gentlemanly person, so your soul has been taken away by him? Let me tell you, I'm not a fool. Even if Si Wenxin slept with that woman, it doesn't mean that there's no adultery between the two of you. Either he's tired of you or he's too timing. Anyway, there's definitely something going on between the two of you. But you've seen it clearly. He's just playing with you. Don't think that he'll have real feelings for a woman like you. Maybe you're smarter and know that he's just playing with me and wants to drag me down with him. I'm not that stupid. If you dare to frame me, you won't have a good ending. Both of you wait and see. After saying that, he shook her off and rushed out of the door. Shi Shujing covered her painful arm and tears were about to fall out. After work, Shi Shujing was in a bad mood and didn't want to go home. She called Gao Zhuqing and confirmed that she would be home for dinner. Then she bought some hot pot ingredients and went to her home. As soon as Gao Zhuqing got home, she smelled the spicy hot pot. She quickly washed her hands and sat at the table. Shi Shujing washed the vegetables, placed them together with the meatballs and fat beef, and put them into the pot. Gao Zhuqing was drooling over the hot pot. "What's so good today? You bought so much food." "Nothing good. Just treat it as a reward for helping me take care of the cat these days." "So good. I thought Boss C proposed to you." Shi Shujing put a mouthful of beef into her mouth and almost scalded her tongue. "What nonsense are you talking about? You're thinking too much." "Tisk. I'm not thinking too much. Anyway, he likes you. It's only a matter of time before he proposes." "Nonsense." Chapter 75. Previously, Si Wenxin did give Shi Shujing such an illusion. Sometimes she felt that he liked her, but Sarah's matter had completely destroyed this idea. After all, she was inexperienced and could not understand a man's heart. She really thought that she was special. In fact, a man like him had experienced many things in love and had already seen through the scenery. In his eyes, all women were the same. There were no exceptions. Originally, she wanted to refute him with Sarah's matter, but Shi Shujing did not have the habit of talking too much, especially about other people's affairs. She did not like to talk nonsense, so she thought about it and held it back. After dipping 2 pieces of beef and putting them into Gao Zhuqing's bowl, Shi Shujing said lightly, "I don't want anything now. I just want to work hard and live a peaceful life. People say that they want to make peace but not to separate. Who can't wait for someone to divorce? Your divorce is not called divorce. It's called liberation. It's called walking out of the grave. Do you understand? Helping to save women is a great merit for me." Gao Zhuqing was a reporter, so she was good at talking. Shi Shujing could not beat her in talking. She could not help laughing. When the two were joking, the phone vibrated. Shi Shujing looked at the number and hesitated. Gao Zhuqing saw her constipated look and knew who was calling. She smacked her lips twice. "Answer it or not. If you don't answer it, I'll answer it for you." She pretended to take the phone, but Shi Shujing rushed to answer it first. "Don't mess around." She steadied her breathing. "It's me." Gao Zhuqing was so proud that she kept making a face. "Where?" Si Wenxin's voice was mellow and deep. Shi Shujing thought, wasn't he having a good time with Sarah? Why was he looking for her? "What's the matter?" "Where?" She did not want to say it, but there was a kind of irresistible force in his tone. She could not lie, so Shi Shujing had to tell the truth. "Gao Zhuqing's house. Come down in 20 minutes. I'll wait for you downstairs." "Hey, who are you?" "I didn't even agree." Gao Zhuqing laughed slyly. "Yo, you have a date with a beauty?" "What date?" "I don't even know what's going on and I didn't agree. You just want me to go downstairs in 20 minutes? Are you trying to be a hooligan?" "No, no, no." Gao Zhuqing wagged her finger as if she was serious. "If it's done by other men, it's called acting like a hooligan. Just ignore it." But when Boss C did it, he was very manly and charismatic. "Don't eat anymore. Go and dress up." "No. I didn't say I wanted to see him." Although Shi Shujing was reluctant, he couldn't help but speed up his movements. After filling his stomach, he estimated that it was about time to leave before he slowly went downstairs. A black Jaguar was parked in front of the building. Shi Shujing didn't get in the car immediately. Instead, he knocked on the window. Si Wenxin was driving today. He was sitting in the driver's seat. The window was open and he was smoking. It seemed that he had been waiting for her for a while. Si Wenxin took a puff. His slender fingers held a cigarette and the smoke lingered. The smell of nicotine was slightly intoxicating. His eyes were half closed. His side profile was well defined and his facial features were cold. His long eyelashes covered his eyes, but the light in his eyes was very sharp. When he smoked, he looked cold and dispirited. At the same time, there was a hint of yuppie. He looked very good. Shi Shujing asked, trying to control his emotions. "What's the matter? Get in the car? If there's anything, you can say it here. I'm still wearing slippers." Si Wenxin looked over. She had removed her makeup, and her long hair was casually tied into a bun. A few strands of her hair were loose and she looked a little lazy. He knew that she was dressed in casual clothes on purpose. She just didn't want to go with him so that she could find an excuse to leave. But Si Wenchen wasn't that easy to reject. He threw away the cigarette but leaned over and opened the car door from the inside. Get in the car. Shi Shujing was in a dilemma. He didn't expect him to be so insistent. He stood on the spot and wiggled his feet. Si Wenchen took a look and saw that it was a pair of ice blue furry slippers with 2 rabbit ears. They were furry and looked very cute. If it's about the project, the design department hasn't made any progress yet. If there's any, I'll contact you. She was deliberately keeping a distance from him again. Si Wenchen furrowed his brows and his tone became more serious. I'm not looking for you to talk about the project. No matter how patient he was, he felt a little frustrated after being repeatedly rejected by her and even pushed to other women. Shi Shujing asked foolishly. Then what's the matter? Let's talk in the car. Just say it here. The two of them were in a deadlock for 2 seconds. Si Wenchen's gaze was completely cold and he gritted his teeth. Or do you want me to go out and carry you in? To be honest, I don't have much patience right now. There's no benefit in going against me. A threat? Shi Shujing's throat tightened and he trembled. Although this kind of behavior of directly threatening when he couldn't achieve his goal was a kind of barbaric behavior, it was completely different from that little tyrant Qin Baiyuan. No matter how unyielding Shi Shujing was, he would be afraid. He could only give up resistance and sit in the car. Look, I'm really wearing slippers. It's not very convenient. She observed his expression and murmured in a low voice. I haven't finished my meal yet. Si Wenchen ignored her and started the car, but his expression was a little more pleasant. At least for now, Shi Shujing found that he was the kind of person who would not be angry for more than a minute. As long as he didn't stroke the tiger's beard, he was still a person who was easy to get along with. In the night, the city lights were like a stream and the lights were waning. The car was driving orderly on the spacious road, and light music was playing in the car, which made people feel relaxed. After the car drove for a while, Shi Shujing couldn't help asking, "Where are we going?" "You'll know when we get there." Oh, he was so mysterious. She didn't know what he was up to, but it must be nothing good. Si Wenchen's mood was now completely relaxed. In the warm light, his face was quite gentle and there seemed to be a faint smile. Eating hot pot? Yes. Shi Shujing was a little embarrassed. At this moment, the car was full of the smell of hot pot on her body. She smelled it a little pungent, let alone him. You have a big heart. Si Wenchen's words came out of the blue, his expression calm. Shi Shujing pondered for a while. Maybe he meant that after such a farce at the dinner party, she was still in the mood to eat hot pot. She was so heartless. What else can I do? One day is happy and one day is unhappy. Don't we all have to live like this? She smiled and thought it through. Life is already so difficult. Why make trouble for yourself? Hearing her speak so maturely as if she had seen through the world, people who didn't know better would think that she was a few decades old. When these words came from the mouth of a little girl in her early 20s, it made Si Wenchen's heart ache. At her age, she should be carefree and innocent, but she was tortured to this extent. Forced to disguise herself with a stubborn appearance, it made Qin Baiyuan even more unmanly. I haven't eaten yet. Why don't we go back for hot pot? It's not convenient with Gao Zhuqing around. Si Wenchen smiled. I think she will welcome me very much. That day, you said that you would treat me to a good meal. Do you still mean it? Shi Shujing opened his mouth. Didn't I treat you to a meal last night? And it was the best club in Flozhen City. It was a state banquet. That was paid by the company. Not sincere. There's no difference. The key is the intention. Although Shi Shujing said so, she knew that she couldn't say it out loud. Next time then. I'll treat you next time. There's no need to wait for next time. I'm free now. You came all the way here. Don't tell me you want me to treat you to a meal? I believe that there are many people who are willing to have a meal with you, especially women. Moreover, at this time you should be with Sarah. Really? Yes. When a man and a woman are in love, don't they want to stick together at all times? Even 24 hours a day is not enough? Didn't you specially come to see her in the afternoon? Why didn't you have dinner together tonight? She just didn't understand. Was one Sarah not enough? How much time did he have? Who said that I specially went to see her? Can't I go there for you? When Si Wenchen said this, his eyes were bright and full of interest. His eyes were still staring at the road ahead. The corner of his mouth curled up, making Shi Shujing's heart flutter. She blushed and complained that he was acting like a hooligan again. She used to think that he was a gentleman. Only after dating him did she realize that he was quite despicable in this aspect. He already had Sarah, but he still teased her. What was the difference between him and those playboys? It was just that he had the charm of a mature man. Shi Shujing didn't continue the topic and changed the topic. How are you guys now? Not bad. Si Wenchen controlled the steering wheel with one hand and changed the music with the other. She's a gift that you've prepared meticulously. Wouldn't it be too impolite of me to reject it? He made it sound as though she had forced it on him and he had accepted it reluctantly. Shi Shujing rolled her eyes. Although she was a little disappointed, she didn't think that he was a shameless man just because he had slept with Sarah. As long as both parties were willing, there was nothing to criticize. No matter how capable Si Wenchen was, he was still a man. There was nothing wrong with him accepting a woman. However, her mouth was a little unforgiving as she pouted her lips. A forceful melon won't be sweet. If you don't like it, you don't have to force yourself. Last night you put in so much effort to force it on me. I've accepted it and now you're saying this. Are you jealous? Si Wenchen's lips curled up into a mischievous smile, as though this was something very interesting and made him feel good. Why would I be jealous? Boss C is too sensitive. Really? I don't want it to be me who's too sensitive. If you're jealous, I'll be very happy. Shi Shujing's skin was thin to begin with, so how could she endure his teasing over and over again? While she was complaining about him in her heart, her cheeks constantly turned red, and her delicate little face became more and more lively. Si Wenchen took a look and laughed. A hearty laughter came from his chest and his voice was very pleasant to the ears. Shi Shujing felt a little uneasy. What are you laughing at? Nothing. Si Wenchen was still laughing. His smile seemed to glow under the flickering lights. It was so beautiful. I just think that you're interesting. Really? I'm not as interesting as Sarah. Chapter 76. Si Wenchen's smile deepened and his eyes sparkled. You're much more interesting than her. I've had many women around me these years. As time goes by, they're all the same in my eyes. They're interested in my identity, my money, and of course my personal charm. Shi Shujing rolled her eyes, but she had to admit this from the bottom of her heart. A successful career had always bestowed charm to a man. Moreover, apart from being smart, Si Wenchen was elegant, wise, and knowledgeable. Which part of him wasn't irresistible? The more I see, the less interesting it becomes. Shi Shujing mumbled secretly. Then you can try men? It was originally a silly joke and she only said it to herself. She didn't expect Si Wenchen to hear it and tease her. Men don't have breasts or buttocks. I still prefer women. She cleared her throat. These words, you should say this to Sarah. Was there a need to tell her about his preferences in bed? Her body is beautiful, but I've seen more beautiful ones. Oh. Shi Shujing lowered her head, twisting her fingers nervously. Her fingertips were burning red. She took small breaths and even her breath was hot. You don't want to ask who it is? That has nothing to do with me. Si Wenchen smiled deeply. Not long after, they arrived at their destination, a bustling commercial street. After Shi Shujing alighted from the car, she was sure that Si Wenchen was taking her to a jewelry shop. She quickly tugged at his hand, and when he turned around to look at her hand, she hurriedly let go. Why are you taking me to a jewelry shop? It's not appropriate for me to be dressed like this. Si Wenchen replied calmly. They don't care about what you wear, but whether you have money or not. But, without waiting for her to say anything, he directly took her hand, wrapped it in his palm, and held it firmly as though he was declaring some kind of ownership. His hand was big, warm, and dry. When the thin callus rubbed against her delicate skin, there was a burst of electric current. Shi Shujing hurriedly struggled. Don't be like this. I'll go in with you. This is very ugly. Every time he held her hand, the soft touch made Si Wenchen reluctant to let go, but out of respect for her, he still let go of her hand like a gentleman and put it back into his trouser pocket. Shi Shujing did not know what kind of trick he was going to play, but he could only bite the bullet and play along. As soon as the shopping guide saw Si Wenchen, she immediately treated her as a distinguished guest and smiled like a flower. Looking at her sloppy clothes and the smell of hot pot, she was only stunned for a moment before she warmly welcomed her. This was the magic of money. In a luxurious jewelry store, diamonds and jewelry were sparkling in the window, enough to blind people's eyes. Beautiful things had a kind of attraction, and beautiful diamonds and jewelry were especially attractive to women. Shi Shujing had never thought of buying it, but he was still fascinated by it. Do you like it? His voice suddenly came from behind her ear, and Shi Shujing suddenly found that he was talking to her ear, burning her earlobe. It was numb, as though hundreds of little ants were biting it. She was not used to being so intimate with him, especially in front of outsiders. She guiltily felt that the way the shopping guide looked at her was strange, as if she knew that she had a husband. Shi Shujing moved away. "Why did you bring me here?" Shi Shujing did not understand why Si Wenxin brought her to the jewelry store, so she asked him. "Choose a necklace." "Necklace?" She did not seem to understand what he meant and looked a little confused. "You want to buy a necklace for me?" Without waiting for him to say anything, she continued. "This is the way you usually deal with women? Using jewelry or money to buy them? Because I have always rejected you, so you think that giving me a necklace can move me? How expensive do you want to give me? 1 million? Or 10 million? Or more? But I'm sorry to disappoint you. Even if I have no feelings for Qin Baiyuan, I am still Mrs. Qin in name. These jewelry, as long as I want, I can have as many as I want. I don't care at all." Si Wenxin looked at her calmly and raised the corner of his mouth. "Are you finished? I just want you to choose a necklace for me to give to Sarah. Why are you so excited? No one said that they would buy you with a necklace." Shi Shujing felt as if she had been hit by a hammer, and she was embarrassed for her own wishful thinking. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Shi Shujing was very unhappy, as if there was a fishbone stuck in her throat, and she whispered. "I don't want it either. If you want to give a necklace to Sarah, just bring her to choose it." "Why do you want me to choose? I don't know what she likes. I saw that you tried so hard to recommend her to me, so I thought that you two have a good relationship." "We are just colleagues. Our relationship is not as good as you think. I don't know what she likes, and I'm afraid that she won't like it. You'd better bring her to choose it." Si Wenxin looked at her playfully. "If I bring her to choose, there will be no surprise. Does a person like him also like to play tricks like surprises?" Shi Shujing had always been unable to understand his mind, including this time. "That's between you two. I don't want to get involved." Shi Shujing said and was about to leave, but Si Wenxin grabbed her wrist. It was very gentle, but it was enough to make her unable to break free. Shi Shujing furrowed her brows and looked at him, a little impatient. "It was because of you that I was willing to see Blue Sky's proposal. It was also because of you that I gave you many opportunities later. Courtesy demands reciprocity. Shouldn't you also do me this favor? Not to mention that I have agreed to an exclusive interview with your friend. Now you are asking for a favor?" Shi Shujing did not expect him to be so straightforward. "Since you are already here, choosing a necklace is just a matter of a minute or two. I have always been a person who distinguishes between kindness and hatred. If you help me, I will also give you the corresponding repayment." So she compromised. "I can only choose what I like. I can't guarantee whether she likes it or not." "Understood." There was a dazzling array of necklaces in the display window. There were platinum, gold, rose gold, diamond, and all kinds of styles. Shi Shujing personally preferred simple and low-profile necklaces. After choosing for a long time, he finally chose a diamond necklace. The chain was platinum, and the pendant was a small diamond. The claw-shaped daisy design was simple and elegant. "This one is not bad. Try it on." Shi Shujing was not very willing to try it on for others. "Can't you just look at the necklace? The effect will be different if I wear it and if she wears it. Let me feel it." Shi Shujing had no choice but to wear it. Si Wenxin rubbed his chin as he carefully measured her. Suddenly, he reached out to touch her collarbone and gently slid his hand across her skin. Shi Shujing shuddered and took a step back. "Your collarbone is very beautiful," Si Wenxin praised. His eyes were fixed on her slender, swan-like neck, unwilling to look away. "Your skin is very fair. This necklace suits you very well." The praise from a man made Shi Shujing's ears warm up, especially when his gaze was deep and charming. It was as if he was admiring a beautiful treasure with a hint of love. She could not control her cheeks again. "It's suitable for me, but it might not be suitable for Sarah." "I think so too. This one is not generous enough." "Is there a need to be so generous? As long as it's a gift from you, even if it's just a blade of grass, Sarah will be ecstatic. That being said, since I have to give it to her, my principle is to always give the best." This was true. Si Wenxin himself had the best food, clothing, housing, and transportation. His suit and shirt were all custom-made, and his car was a limited edition. He wanted everything to be the best. Even if you had money, you could not buy it. He wanted to be unique because he had the capital to be outstanding. It's easy to be generous. Just buy the most expensive one in the shop. The most expensive one might not be what I like. Shi Shujing thought it was troublesome for a man to shop. She had to be patient and help him choose another diamond necklace with a bigger pendant. Si Wenxin nodded and went to pay. After that, they left the jewelry shop. Shi Shujing was glad that she could finally go home. Thank you for your trouble tonight. As a thank you, I'll give you a gift. Shi Shujing took the pink velvet gift box. Inside was the daisy necklace she had chosen for the first time. Her heart seemed to be hit by something. She was a little surprised but not surprised. She felt a little insulted. What does this mean? Of course she did not dare to ask. She still maintained a good attitude. Thank you, Boss C, for your kindness. But Sarah is your girlfriend. I'm afraid it's not appropriate to give her a necklace and me a necklace. If she knows, she will be very unhappy. Si Wenxin knew she would say that. He smiled deeply. First of all, she is not my girlfriend. She can only be a temporary companion. Second, as long as you don't tell her, she won't know. As I said just now, I am a person who distinguishes between kindness and hatred. You helped me and I will give you a corresponding reward. This necklace is my thank you. However, Shi Shujing felt uncomfortable in her heart. Holding it was like holding something stolen, and she resisted it from the bottom of her heart. It's nothing. You don't have to be so polite. Boss C has helped me a lot in the project. Choosing a necklace is nothing. Si Wenxin teased her. Judging from your impatient expression just now, it doesn't seem like it's nothing. My attitude just now was not very good. I apologize to you. But since you've already bought the necklace, there's no need to give me this gift. I will not take back the gift I've given. As for whether you want to wear it or not, it's your choice. Of course, I hope you can accept it gladly. Both of them were very insistent on their attitude. But Si Wenxin was too domineering. His words were equivalent to irresistible force. In the end, Shi Shujing could only compromise. In that case, I'll accept the gift. Thank you, Boss C. You're not happy? Shi Shujing shook his head and smiled faintly. He was distant and polite. How can I not be happy when Boss C gives me a gift? To me, you're being sarcastic. Si Wenxin looked at the road ahead. His eyes were clear and sharp and his expression was cold. But when he was alone with her, he would be gentler than usual and intentionally restrain his sharpness. No, it's just that. Even though Shi Shujing felt that there was no need, she still wanted to say her true thoughts. It was too tiring to hide it. I don't think this is good. Chapter 77. Si Wenxin had known that this was the crux of the matter. She had been very unfriendly to him tonight, and she had been holding back her temper. It was all related to Qin Baiyuan. To some extent, it meant that she was protecting Qin Baiyuan, or more concerned about Qin Baiyuan's feelings. This made him uncomfortable and he minded it. The man raised his eyebrows. Oh, tell me, what did I say wrong? Is it wrong to praise you as a very charming woman and persuade him to cherish you? Or is it wrong to ask him to run your marriage as hard as he runs his business? That's a matter between us. It's not appropriate for you to say it as an outsider. It's easy to make my husband misunderstand. I'm not a talkative person. In fact, I hate talkative people very much. However, it's another matter if I can't stand it. I think the behavior of the two of you is incredible. One is a womanizer all day long, abandoning his wife like a worn-out shoe, but deliberately acting. The other is deceiving himself, thinking that he doesn't feel pain if he doesn't admit it, and enduring humiliation for a stupid marriage. If I didn't know you, I would really think that the two of you are a good match. One is willing to fight and the other is willing to suffer. You are a perfect couple. Shi Shujing felt as if he had been slapped. He wanted to retort on the spot, you are the perfect one for interfering in other people's family affairs. No matter what happened to her and Qin Baiyuan, it was a private matter between them. No one had the right to criticize them like they were the saviors of the world. What was more, Si Wenxin's purpose was not simple. It was nothing more than to provoke them and take advantage of the situation. How noble he was. Seeing that she was holding back her anger but dared not speak, Si Wenxin worried that she would have a problem with it, so he took the initiative to ask. What do you want to say? Shi Shujing calmed down. After holding back his anger for 3 seconds, he didn't want to say it, so he changed the topic. No matter how ridiculous this marriage is in your eyes, at least I have given my heart, so I shouldn't be ridiculed. It's because you have given your heart that I feel sorry for you. I don't mean to ridicule you. I just want you to recognize the reality. Do you want to say that the onlooker sees the game clearly? In fact, haven't I heard enough of them? Just like drinking water, only one knows whether it's hot or cold. It's the same with marriage. No one knows the bitterness of it better than me. But I have my reasons for persevering. This stubbornness made Si Wenshin even more displeased. You want to say that you were willing to suffer all kinds of grievances because of love? Then are you misinterpreting the meaning of love? Love is not about compromising, nor is it about degrading yourself. You can see his attitude very clearly. You are the last person in this world that he will love. Shi Shujing shook his head, feeling amused. How much do you know about me, Qin Baiyuan, and our marriage? Do you have a say in this? How much you know is not the point. The point is that all I see is you trampling on yourself. A man like Qin Baiyuan is not worthy of your love. What do you want me to do? Divorce Qin Baiyuan and become your woman? At least when I'm with Qin Baiyuan, I'm still Mrs. Qin. What can you give me? One Sarah is not enough to satisfy you. Do you need one more to fill the remaining vacancy? Si Wenshin was silent. Of course, Shi Shujing didn't understand Si Wenshin's thoughts. She took his silence as acquiescence. Sure enough, what he needed was just a plaything, a momentary novelty. He was even worse than Qin Baiyuan. Sorry. I won't jump from one pit of fire to another. If you are still a gentleman, don't say that again. I have never thought about divorce, let alone betrayal. Si Wenshin's face swayed in the waning night, and his eyes were very deep. When people get married, they don't go with the purpose of divorce. But marriage is the same as career. You need to judge the situation and make adjustments according to the reality. If you cling to a hopeless marriage, you will be the one who gets hurt in the end. Then I'm willing. Her words made Si Wenshin completely speechless. Shi Shujing's stubbornness was definitely no less than his. She persisted in the marriage for 3 years, which was enough to prove this point. It was also enough to show how deep her feelings for Qin Baiyuan were. If he hadn't left after that night, would the situation have been completely different? Of course, the most useless thing in the world was, if. Everything would not start over because of his regret. He could only change the current situation. Since he couldn't pry open her head and make her sober, Si Wenshin could only slow down. This woman deserved the most time and patience to fight for. As soon as the car stopped, Shi Shujing immediately unfastened the seat belt and got out of the car without even saying goodbye. Si Wenshin watched her figure quickly disappear at the entrance of the corridor and couldn't help frowning. When Shi Shujing returned home, Gao Zhuqing was working hard. As soon as he heard the noise, he quickly put down the computer and ran over to gossip. How's it going? What do you mean how's it going? How's it going with Boss C? What's that in your hand? A ring? Gao Zhuqing hurriedly grabbed it and opened it. He was a little disappointed. Why is it a necklace and not a ring? I thought he proposed to you. Shi Shujing fell on the sofa. She followed and blinked her eyes twice. He didn't propose? Is your brain short-circuited? How could he propose to me? Why not? You guys are unmarried. You can get a divorce if you're married. It's normal for him to propose. Nowadays there are so many flash marriages. Besides, he's so rich. Seeing that she was lying on the sofa with a tired face, Gao Zhuqing pushed her. Why do you look so tired? Could it be that you've been drained by Boss C? What did you do just now? Shi Shujing threw a pillow at her. I'm married. It's against morality to betray someone. Hey, what morality? If it's against morality, Qin Baiyuan, that bastard, should be executed 10,000 times. He can betray someone every day. Why can't you? Shi Shujing did not want to speak. Gao Zhuqing's thoughts were not on the same channel as hers. But a necklace is good. It's also a token of love. You and Qin Baiyuan have been married for 3 years, and he has never given you a gift. Boss C is much kinder than him. Besides, if a man like Boss C would take the initiative to give you a gift, it must mean that he cares about you. Don't doubt his sincerity. What if he wants me to be his mistress? Oh, you said it? No, what if it's not a girlfriend but a mistress? What do you think? Gao Zhuqing pondered for a while. I don't know what you think, but I'll definitely say yes. Do you have any morals? Of course. But there's only one man like Si Wenshin among billions of people in the country. It'll be a pity to miss it. Besides, a mistress and a girlfriend are the same. You have to have a chance to get close to him first, then you can develop step by step. Maybe you'll get married. You're too imaginative. I can't communicate with you. The next weekend, Shi Shujing stayed at Gao Zhuqing's house for 2 days. In addition to listening to her talk about how excellent Si Wenshin was and what a scumbag Qin Baiyuan was, she watched TV and played with the cat every day. Her life was quite comfortable. She had been living under high-intensity work pressure for more than half a year. She urgently needed to relax. Besides, she had inhaled too much polluted air in the Qin family. She needed a change of air. After the weekend she went back to work. Sarah came to submit the documents. A woman in love would be radiant and extremely beautiful. Why else would it be said that love was the best nourishment for a woman? Even Shi Shujing was envious of her. His eyes fell on Sarah's neck. Shi Shujing asked hesitantly. "You're not wearing a necklace?" I mean, you don't seem to have the habit of wearing jewelry." "Yeah. My skin is sensitive. I don't feel comfortable wearing jewelry." "Oh, that's a pity. Did any of your previous boyfriends give you a necklace?" "No. I did accept bags, but I never accepted a necklace." "That's good. It's too wasteful." Shi Shujing didn't know what was wrong with her, so she asked again. "Boss, he didn't give you a necklace either?" "No. He's a very considerate man, but he doesn't look like the kind who would give gifts. If only he did. I'd be willing to wear it even if I'm allergic." Shi Shujing couldn't help but feel a little strange. Seeing her in a daze, Sarah waved her hand in front of her eyes. "What's wrong with you?" Nothing." Shi Shujing said perfunctorily. "Maybe I'm under a lot of pressure from work. I didn't sleep well. I have some herbal tea. I'll send you 2 packets later. Sleep is very important for women. It directly affects their skin." "Thank you. Speaking of which, you've always been in charge of this project. You're very familiar with Boss C, right? I don't mean anything else. I just feel that he quite likes you. Last time you didn't tell him the address, but he knew where to send you." Shi Shujing played it down. "We're not very familiar. We've only had dinner twice. He sent me home. So that's how it is. I was a little jealous before." Sarah smiled. She didn't seem to mind. "You misunderstood. I'm already married. But your marriage with Boss Chin? I know I shouldn't talk too much. But his behavior that day was really hateful. I'm angry for you. I won't say any more. I'll go down and busy myself." After Sarah left, Shi Shujing was free for a while. She regretted asking those questions. It was very likely to arouse suspicion. Besides, whether Si Wenxin sent it or not had nothing to do with her. She didn't need to worry about it. After work, Shi Shujing returned to the Qin family. Qin Yuning and Yin Jingqi were having dinner in the dining room. They greeted each other. "Dad, Mom, I'm back." Yin Jingqi's face fell. She was mocking them. "Yo, you still know how to come back. I thought you didn't know the way home." Shi Shujing didn't say anything. "All right. It's good that you're back." Qin Yuning asked the servant to add a pair of chopsticks and bowls. "You're too indulgent of her. She didn't go home for a few days. What does she think this place is? Does she even put us in her eyes? It's because you're supporting her that she can do whatever she wants." Qin Yuning didn't like hearing this and frowned. Chapter 78. So be it. I can't wait for them to get a divorce. They can do it now. Yin Jingqi's attitude was also very arrogant. "In this family you are the only one who likes her. If she wants to leave, no one will ask her to stay. Also, what do you mean by my precious son? Isn't he your son? It's all because you spoil him. It's outrageous. Of course I treasure my son. Unlike you who favor an outsider. My son has been ruined by you, and you still have the face to blame me and my son." The two of them argued endlessly. Shi Shujing definitely felt uncomfortable listening to them. They had quarreled like this countless times. She didn't want to get involved in this kind of quarrel, so she lowered her head and ate in silence. Because of her, this family has been thrown into chaos. "Are you happy now?" "Son, you're back." When Yin Jingqi saw Qin Baiyuan, her expression instantly turned gloomy and she quickly went up to him. "I was afraid that you wouldn't come back." "Isn't that the case?" Qin Baiyuan muttered impatiently. Qin Yuning glared at him. He was a little fearful and irritated. When he found that Shi Shujing was also present, he gritted his teeth. He didn't care that Qin Yuning was present and asked angrily. "What are you doing here? This is her home. If she's not here, where is she?" Qin Yuning put down his chopsticks with a pa sound. "Didn't she not come back for a few days? She fooled around outside every day. When did she treat this place as her home?" To Shi Shujing this was called a thief crying thief. In the past 3 years she had stayed alone in this deserted big house for more than 1,000 nights, while he, Qin Baiyuan, was enjoying himself outside. In the end he accused her of not coming home? He was outrageously heartless. It's good enough that Shi Shujing is willing to come back. But you still have the face to come back after causing such a big trouble? Do you think I want to? If it wasn't for Mom begging me to come back, I wouldn't want to come back to face this woman. You don't like me, do you? I'll leave. Qin Baiyuan was about to leave when Yin Jingqi quickly pulled him back. Don't go, she stopped him and complained to Qin Yuning. It's not easy for our son to come back and you're still chasing him out? Qin Yuning was so angry that he glared at her. I don't have such a bastard of a son. He's always stirring up trouble. The Qin family's face has been thrown away by him. Yes, shame on me. Shi Shujing is the only one who has brought honor to you. Why don't you ask her what she has done to bring honor to the Qin family? Qin Baiyuan. Yin Jingqi screamed, afraid that he would say something wrong and expose her plan. You are really something. How can you talk to your father like that? She kept winking at him. Regarding the banquet, it was indeed your fault. Quickly apologize to your father. Qin Baiyuan understood Yin Jingqi's meaning and looked reluctant. Why should I apologize? It's not my fault. I was set up by someone. The reason why he was so stubborn was because of his rebellious mentality. The more he loved Qin Yuning, the more he wanted to disagree with him. Especially when it came to the matter of Shi Shujing, he was like a child who was jealous and had a very unbalanced mentality. If you hadn't been hanging out with those shady women all day long, would this have happened? What did I tell you long ago? It's fine if you usually mess around, but what kind of occasion is that? It's simply a great humiliation. Qin Yuning didn't know what to say. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin Baiyuan was already in his 20s, he would have given him a good beating. I've already said that I was set up. I'm the victim. Shi Shujing couldn't help but sneer. Qin Baiyuan was annoyed. What are you laughing at? Are you mocking me? I'm not. Shi Shujing was calm. I just thought of something funny. You? Yin Jingqi was also angry. Still sitting here? Hurry up and serve Baiyuan rice. What kind of wife are you? A piece of wood has better eyesight than you. Just as Shi Shujing was about to get up, Qin Yuning immediately said, Sit down. He has no hands or feet. He doesn't know how to scoop his own rice? After doing such a shameful thing, he still has the face to ask Shi Shujing to serve him? It's good enough that I didn't make him kneel in front of her and apologize. He actually told him to kneel to this woman? Qin Baiyuan's hair stood on end as he roared. Why should I kneel to her? It's all her fault that I became like this. You're blaming others for your own mistakes? Get back to your room right now, I don't want to see you. Son, you haven't eaten yet. What do you want to eat? I can't eat in front of her. Qin Baiyuan angrily rushed upstairs. With a loud bang he slammed the door shut. Qin Yuning kept shaking his head and sighing, blaming himself for raising such an unfilial son. Yin Jingqi's face was livid. She glared at Shi Shujing fiercely and left. Only Qin Yuning and Shi Shujing were left at the dining table. On the surface, she was still unperturbed and even smiled slightly. Dad, let's eat. In fact, it tasted like wax. After dinner, Shi Shujing went upstairs and walked into the room. Qin Baiyuan was on the phone. When their eyes met, he immediately revealed a look of disgust. It was as if looking at her was disgusting. He turned his back to her. Yes, she's so cheap. She only knows how to use my dad to suppress me all day long. I feel sick when I see her. Qin Baiyuan deliberately spoke very loudly. Of course I miss you. If it wasn't for my dad forcing me, I would have come over long ago. Who wants to stay at home and face the woman they hate the most? Shi Shujing could not wait for him to leave. Out of sight, out of mind. She took her pajamas into the bathroom to take a shower. When she came out, she specially covered herself with a bathrobe outside her pajamas and wrapped herself tightly. Qin Baiyuan hung up the phone and sneered disdainfully. Do you have to do that? Even if you take off your clothes and beg me, I won't touch a finger of yours. Shi Shujing retorted. Can't I be cold? Looking at you annoys me. If you don't like it, you can leave. No one is begging you to stay. You think I'm willing? Qin Baiyuan sneered. I know what you're up to. You want to force me to leave and then complain to my dad. You want to sow discord between us. Woman, you're really scheming. Are you still a 3-year-old child? I'll complain to you. I'm not that bored. Who knows if you will or not? You're one thing on the surface and another behind my back. You fooled my dad. This kind of argument was meaningless to Shi Shujing. The best way to deal with Qin Baiyuan was to treat him as heir. He scolded her a few times, but she pretended not to hear it. It didn't hurt at all. I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Qin Baiyuan was furious. He went over and grabbed her arm. Shi Shujing's bag didn't hold it firmly and fell to the ground. She didn't pull the zipper and the things inside fell out. A touch of pink came into her eyes. She hurriedly bent down to pick it up. But Qin Baiyuan was one step ahead and snatched it. When he opened it and saw the necklace, he felt his heart ache and took a cold breath. Who gave this to you? Shi Shujing tried to snatch it back, but he dodged. Give it back to me. Who gave this to you? Qin Baiyuan didn't give up. His eyes were burning. I bought it myself. Liar. You never wear these things. You don't know me at all. How can you not know whether I wear it or not? Shi Shujing was so anxious, but Qin Baiyuan was much taller than her. She couldn't reach it. You bought it yourself. Why are you so nervous? Si Wenxin gave it to you? Or some other man? Qin Baiyuan's eyes were full of anger. Say it. Who gave it to you? It's none of your business. This is mine. Give it back to me. You're my wife. Qin Baiyuan, you're crazy. Shi Shujing was so anxious that she scolded him. It's mine. What right do you have to take it away? You didn't care about me for the past 3 years. Don't care about me in the future. I won't. You don't want me to be happy. Do you think I'll let you live well? Don't think I'll turn a blind eye to your affair with Si Wenxin. Qin Baiyuan was getting angrier as he spoke. His fingers clenched the necklace tightly, digging it into his palm. He was gasping for air. What? Is this what he's doing? A lousy necklace bought you over. You're so cheap? If you want something like this, I'll give it to you. Must a man give it to you? We've been married for 3 years. What have you given me? You don't even want to wear the wedding ring I bought for you. That's another matter. You're so cheap. Si Wenxin can deceive you with a necklace. Shi Shujing was so angry that she couldn't control her words. If Si Wenxin wants to deceive me, he doesn't need this necklace at all. He's much more charming than you. Qin Baiyuan was hurt and flew into a rage. What did you say? Do you dare to say it again? It's true. He founded the Ocean Group himself, and you can only rely on your family. If you have his ability, you don't need to be tied down and marry the woman you hate the most. You can't compare to him at all. Shi Shujing's words stabbed Qin Baiyuan's soft spot. First, it was his cowardice that he didn't want to admit. Second, no man could bear to be compared with another man, let alone be inferior. This was a hard blow to his arrogant self-esteem. In this situation, both of them were at each other's throats. They could tear the ceiling apart at any moment. Yes. Si Wenxin is better than me, so you can't wait to be with him? You act like you're virtuous, but aren't you after his money? Didn't you beg me to marry you because the Shi family went bankrupt and you were afraid of being implicated? Now that you've found someone richer than me, I can't afford to support you anymore, right? Don't make irresponsible remarks. I've been married to you for 3 years, and I haven't spent a single cent from the Qin family. I've used my own money. I haven't used it in the past and I won't use it in the future. Stop joking. If it wasn't for my dad, would you have been promoted to manager so quickly and get such a high salary every month? If you relied on yourself, you're only fit to do the lowest job. No, you can still sleep with men. You're AB** anyway. Pa. A loud slap on the face made Qin Baiyuan's voice stop abruptly. He was stunned by the slap. After a few seconds he came to his senses and turned back inch by inch. The veins on his forehead were bulging, and his eyebrows were twitching. How dare you hit me? Every word was squeezed out from between his lips and teeth. The look in his eyes could directly eat Shi Shujing alive. How dare you hit me for Si Wenxin? This slap was not because of the necklace, but because the grievances Shi Shujing had endured all this time suddenly exploded. She didn't think that she would hit him, but she didn't regret it. Chapter 79. I'm too much? You ruined my life and now you dare to say that I'm too much. Qin Baiyuan grabbed Shi Shujing's arm in exasperation. He was so strong that it hurt so much that it could tear Shi Shujing in half. She looked at the 5 shocking finger marks on his handsome face and suddenly felt very happy. Let me tell you, you are still my wife, Qin Baiyuan. No other man can touch you. Accompanied by his roar, a silver light drew a beautiful arc in the air and was thrown out of the window. Shi Shujing desperately twisted her wrist. Let me go, you still want to pick it up? Qin Baiyuan didn't let go of her and pushed her onto the bed. Si Wenxin is very powerful, right? Then let's see who is powerful. Qin Baiyuan was furious. He forcefully pushed Shi Shujing onto the bed. He used too much force and Shi Shujing's body hit the mattress and bounced up. Before he could resist, Qin Baiyuan's strong body had already pressed down on him. He violently pulled at his tie and one of the buttons on his shirt popped out. Shi Shujing was completely shocked by his crazy action. When he began to pull her clothes, she struggled in horror. Let me go. Qin Baiyuan, Let me go, don't you want a child? I'll give it to you, how about it? Let me go, let me go. Shi Shujing's hot body was pressed against him and her whole body was burning hot. She was scared and her eyes were red. Her whole body was in pain, but more than that, she was afraid. She loved him, and because she loved him, she couldn't accept him using this way to get her, which was equivalent to stabbing her in the heart. I beg you, let me go. Let you go? But when will you let me go? Qin Baiyuan gritted his teeth and grabbed her two wrists, pulling them above her head. Shi Shujing was in so much pain that it was terrifying. She felt like her whole body was going to be hollowed out. She struggled with all her might, but her strength was constantly drained. Her eyes were wet and red as she cried. Let me go. I beg you. I beg you not to do this. Don't you like it very much? Pretending to be pure? You still want to keep your chastity for Si Wenxin? He touched it, but I can't? He didn't touch me. No, still lying. Do you think I'll believe you? She cried like a pear blossom in the rain. It was really pitiful. If he didn't know her well, Qin Baiyuan would really believe her words. But she was so close to Si Wenxin. How could they not have slept together? He hated her betrayal, and hated himself even more for being attracted to her. Qin Baiyuan's brain was about to explode. He shook her off fiercely again. She blacked out and almost fainted. In an instant, it was as if she was thrown into a bottomless abyss. It was so hopeless. Shi Shujing cried, and her whole face was wet with tears. She looked like a broken doll that had suffered abuse. Qin Baiyuan couldn't bear it for a moment, but it was followed by more hatred. He hated her and he hated himself. It was extremely disgusting. Do you think I will touch you? I have already done that long ago. You are dirtier than a prostitute. I feel disgusted even looking at you. Her tears fell endlessly. She couldn't hear his words clearly, but every word was as sharp as a knife, cutting her heart that was already riddled with thousands of holes into 1,000 pieces. Bang! He slammed the door and left. Shi Shujing's mood completely collapsed and she cried loudly. That night, Qin Baiyuan slept in the guest room. Shi Shujing cried alone in the room until midnight. She cried and cried until she fell asleep. The next day she was woken up by the alarm clock. She walked into the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror, who was as pale as a ghost. She smiled bitterly. After taking a shower, she used her glasses to cover the thick dark circles under her eyes. When she went downstairs, Qin Baiyuan was also there. He glared at her fiercely and then didn't want to look at her anymore. Qin Yuning was also eating breakfast. Seeing Shi Shujing's haggard face, he asked, "Didn't you rest well last night?" "Not bad." Shi Shujing's voice was hoarse from crying. Qin Yuning immediately recognized it. "You cried." "No." Although she denied it, Qin Yuning immediately pointed at Qin Baiyuan and questioned him. "What's wrong with you, Shi Shujing?" Qin Baiyuan couldn't bear to see her pretending to be pitiful. He was very disgusted. If she wanted to complain, she could just say it. Why did she have to pretend to be pitiful and play tricks? He snorted disdainfully. "What can I do to her? Hit her? If I hit her, can she still sit here and eat?" Qin Yuning was so angry that he threw his chopsticks. "What are you talking about? My wife is for me to love her, not to beat her. It's true that a wife is to be loved, but I don't treat her as my wife at all. To me, she's not even as good as a stranger. A stranger won't disgust me as much as she does." Shi Shujing had long been trained to have a body of copper skin and iron bones, but after all, his heart was still made of flesh. The hand holding the chopsticks couldn't help but tremble and his eyes turned red. "Bastard. Do you dare to say it again? You and I both know these words. It's meaningless to say more." Qin Baiyuan was in a bad mood and was unusually arrogant. He even contradicted Qin Yuning directly. He wiped the corner of his mouth and stood up calmly. "I'm going to work." "Stop right there. Stop right there." "Dad, forget it." Shi Shujing's little face was pale as he smiled bitterly. It's not the first time he has such an attitude. Let him be. In fact, if he protected her like this, the endless quarrel between father and son would only make her feel more embarrassed and lowly. Qin Yuning shook his head. "When I asked you to get married, I really didn't expect it to turn out like this. I thought that after a long time he would know how good you are." Who knew that this unfilial son? What a misfortune for our family. Shi Shujing didn't say anything. He cried until 3 o'clock last night and had a terrible headache the whole day. Shi Shujing barely finished his work and wanted to go home to sleep, but Sarah insisted on treating him to a meal. Shi Shujing couldn't refuse her, so he could only deal with her. The two of them came to a very high-class Western restaurant. After sitting down, the waiter asked how many people there were. Sarah answered 3. Shi Shujing was stunned for a moment. Well, him? Sarah smiled sweetly. Bossy? I thought it was just the two of us eating. Originally, but he called me after work, so we ate together. That's so inconvenient. I don't want to be your third wheel. I'd better leave first. Just as Shi Shujing stood up in a hurry, she suddenly heard a meaningful laugh behind her ear. I just arrived and I'm leaving. Does manager sure hate me that much? When she turned around, she didn't know when Si Wenchen had stood behind her. She was startled. He seemed to like to play this kind of scaring trick. He quietly stood behind her. She didn't know when he had appeared. She calmed herself down and avoided his gaze. Oh, I just feel that it's not convenient to disturb you. It's not inconvenient. You're welcome anytime. After Si Wenchen finished speaking, he walked over and bent down to kiss Sarah's face. His deep eyes looked towards her. Shi Shujing lowered his head uncomfortably. The scene was a little dazzling. But Sarah was very sweet. She had the attitude of a little woman in love, and her adoring gaze followed him closely. Si Wenchen sat down and looked at Shi Shujing amusedly. Manager sure likes to eat standing? No. I suddenly remembered that I have something to do. I have to go back to the company. No hurry. The company is nearby. I'll send you there after dinner. Yes, Sister Shujing, it's nothing. You don't have to be so nervous. Since both of them said so, if Shi Shujing insisted on leaving, it would be too insensible. She had to reluctantly stay. She kept guessing in her mind whether this was another trap set by Si Wenchen. He always had some reason to appear beside her, haunting her. Si Wenchen and Sarah sat close to each other, and Shi Shujing sat opposite them. She felt uncomfortable eating with a couple. She felt like a big light bulb, not to mention that the person was Si Wenchen who had some intimate actions with her. She did not know what Si Wenchen's attitude towards Sarah was. Just like he said, she was a temporary female companion just for fun. But for now the two of them were a couple. Her identity was really awkward. When ordering, the waiter asked Shi Shujing what he wanted, and Si Wenchen took the initiative to say, "Manager sure doesn't look good. She should eat more beef to replenish her blood. Give her a small steak of mucin." Shi Shujing choked for a moment but did not object. She thought to herself, why did this man have to make decisions for her? He was a busybody. Then what should I eat? Sarah looked at him with infatuation and asked, "As long as you like it. Then let's have a couple's meal, okay? We can eat in turn." "Okay." The waiter left. "Guess what I've been thinking about when I went to work today?" Sarah asked, stammering. Her face was flushed with lust, and her womanly attitude was unmistakable. It was obvious that Si Wenchen was her world, her whole world, and all her heart and soul revolved around him. On the surface, Si Wenchen looked doting, but his mind was completely on Shi Shujing, so he just said perfunctorily, "What are you thinking about?" "I'm thinking about you." "What a coincidence. I've been thinking about you too." As Si Wenchen said, he lowered his head and kissed Sarah's face again. She shyly leaned into his arms. This is called telepathy. They did not take it seriously, but Shi Shujing, as a bystander, was embarrassed. He took a sip of water and whispered, "Why don't you go and get a room?" Si Wenchen's ears were sharp and he deliberately asked, "What did Manager Shi say?" No, nothing." Shi Shujing secretly heaved a sigh of relief, glad that he did not hear it. Sarah acted coquettishly for a while and went to the restroom. When she got up, she even asked Shi Shujing if he wanted to go together. Before she could answer, Si Wenchen said first, "Do you need someone to accompany you to the restroom?" Sarah stuck out her tongue. "Don't you know that girls like to go to the restroom together?" He teased. "Then I'll go with you?" Shi Shujing wanted to vomit, but Sarah was so shy that her face turned red. "You're so annoying." But in her heart, she could not wait for him to stick to her all the time. After being interrupted by him, Sarah did not ask Shi Shujing any more questions. She left on her own. She could not take the opportunity to slip away even if she wanted to. She could only sit where she was, lower her head and stare at the cup. Si Wenchen asked the waiter to bring an ashtray, lit a cigarette and held it between his thin lips. Chapter 80. He slowly exhaled a puff of smoke, accompanied by his mellow voice. "You don't look well today. Are you not feeling well?" Shi Shujing actually heard it, but he pretended not to. Si Wenchen took another puff. "Is the design going well? There's not much time left." "It's in full swing. The designer is working overtime every day. I believe it will be completed in a week at most. I'll inform you immediately. If there's any problem, contact me at any time." She said this seriously, but Si Wenshin mocked her with a sentence. "I thought you couldn't hear me." "So you can hear me?" Shi Shujing realized that she had been fooled. She bit her lips again. This man was so bad. He had a serious face, but sometimes he was so evil. Si Wenshin's gaze fell on her neck. Seeing that she was wrapped in two thick scarves, he asked, "Isn't it hot?" "Not hot." "Is it because you're afraid that Sarah will see you wearing that necklace?" Shi Shujing frowned. She didn't do anything wrong. What was she afraid of? On the contrary, the person who did something wrong looked righteous. His psychological quality was really good. "I didn't wear it and I don't intend to wear it," she replied coldly. Speaking of this, she couldn't help but ask curiously, "You didn't give that necklace to Sarah?" She thought that he would find an excuse like he forgot. Unexpectedly, Si Wenshin replied with two words. "I didn't buy it." "You didn't buy it?" "I watched you go to the cashier. In the end, I thought it was too tacky, so I only bought your necklace." Shi Shujing was dumbfounded. Did he go around in such a big circle and even use Sarah's name just to give her the necklace? She didn't find it romantic at all. Instead, she felt that she had been fooled. She didn't feel happy. Was there something wrong with this man's head? It was just an excuse and they both knew it. However, Si Wenshin looked calm, as if what he said was the truth. Men who could get to his position in the business world could kill without spilling blood, let alone telling a lie without batting an eyelid. "Do you think it's an insult to you that you have one and she has one? Let her down?" Shi Shujing felt like he was sitting on pins and needles when he saw his deep, passionate, and teasing gaze. I didn't do anything shameful. Why should I let her down?" Si Wenshin narrowed his eyes, his expression unfathomable. Shi Shujing was agitated and his mind was in a mess. His agitation made his body inexplicably restless. His hand subconsciously reached for the scarf around his neck. On her fair neck, there was a glaring red mark, causing Si Wenshin's eyes to freeze. "Where did you get the wound on your neck?" Only then did Shi Shujing remember that she wore the scarf to cover the bruise mark. She was so nervous that she forgot about it. She tied it back in a flurry and looked flustered. "I'm allergic to wearing a necklace. That's not the place to wear a necklace." Si Wenshin's eyes flashed with anger. "Qin Baiyuan? It's not him." Shi Shujing panicked and hurriedly denied it. However, the more flustered she was, the more it meant that she was lying. She stood up in a panic. "I'm leaving first." Si Wenshin grabbed her wrist. "It hurts. Let go of me," Shi Shujing screamed. He rolled up her sleeves and saw that there were several bruise marks on her wrist. His eyes suddenly became extremely cold. "What's this?" "I hit it myself. Let go of me." Shi Shujing twisted her wrist and struggled, but there were too many people around. She didn't dare to move too much and kept her voice very low. "Let go of me." Si Wenshin fiercely pinched the cigarette butt and suddenly stood up. His tall and strong figure and noble aura attracted the attention of all the people around him. They were all shocked by his cold and arrogant domineering aura. He grabbed her hand and strode out. Shi Shujing was completely dragged out by his brute force. "What are you doing? Let go of me." "Where are you going?" "The hospital." "I'm fine. Sarah is still here. If we leave, what about her?" Si Wenshin didn't take Sarah seriously at all. Especially at this time, his mind was full of her bruise and how to kill Qin Baiyuan. "Boss, see you, let go of me." He took big steps and Shi Shujing stumbled to keep up with him. When they walked out of the restaurant, he directly stuffed her into the passenger seat and slammed the door. "Let me get out of the car." "Si Wenshin, you're crazy." Shi Shujing was anxious and called him by his full name. "If we leave like this, Sarah will misunderstand. Fasten the seat belt." "I don't." As soon as he finished speaking, he directly leaned over and fastened the seat belt for her without any explanation. With a kacha sound, it was tightly fastened. Shi Shujing felt that she was being kidnapped. She desperately punched the door, but he refused to open it and directly started the car. "Are you a robber?" Shi Shujing was so angry that her face turned red. "If you do this, Sarah will misunderstand." "Do you think I'm afraid that she will misunderstand?" Si Wenshin said coldly. His face looked like a storm was coming and his voice was very gloomy. The atmosphere in the car made Shi Shujing shiver and feel cold all over. "You're not afraid, but I am. I don't want her to have any doubts." At this time the phone rang. Shi Shujing saw Sarah's name flashing on the phone screen and felt flustered. Si Wenshin hung up the phone. After 2 seconds, Shi Shujing's phone also rang. She took out her phone hesitantly. That name made her upset. If you don't want to answer it, then I'll hang up. Originally, Shi Shujing might not have the courage to answer it. But after being provoked by him, she deliberately went against him and picked up the call. Sarah. Well, I'm with Boss C now. She looked at him with a dissatisfied expression, her brows knitted together. He's driving, it's not convenient for him to answer the phone. Nothing, it's just that, the design department just called me and said that there's an emergency and they want me to rush back. Boss C will send me? You don't have to wait for him. He has other things to do after sending me back to the company. You can go back first. Okay, see you tomorrow? After hanging up the phone, Shi Shujing heaved a sigh of relief. When lying, it was very stressful and panicky. However, Si Wenshin just had to say something at this time. You're also good at lying. Isn't it because of you? You put me down now and go back to pick up Sarah. Are you ordering me? How dare she? Shi Shujing reluctantly gave in. I'm not ordering you, I'm begging you. Sarah is your girlfriend and also my friend. Don't make it too difficult for me, okay? However, Si Wenshin directly refused. No way. How can you be so bossy? Can't you put aside your position for once and think from someone else's point of view? You think I'm not thinking for you now? Si Wenshin asked angrily. You're injured, don't you know to go to the hospital? It's just some scratches. It's not serious. What's more, we're just partners. We're not related to each other. There's really no need to do this. I appreciate your kindness, but it's a kind of pressure for me. Yes, my concern is pressure. Is it a pleasure for Qin Baiyuan to beat you? Shi Shujing. Si Wenshin was so angry that he blurted out. Are you that cheap? Regarding this marriage, Shi Shujing had heard so many people calling her cheap that she was used to it. However, when this word came from Si Wenshin's mouth, it was like a needle piercing her heart. It was very painful. Her face instantly turned pale, but she laughed. Yes, I'm that cheap. One of us is willing to be beaten, and the other is willing to be beaten. What does it have to do with you? Si Wenshin knew that she said it out of anger and regretted saying it so harshly. However, he couldn't take back what he said. His fingers tightened on the steering wheel. You still have other choices, I've said it before. I won't jump from one pit to another. Even being Mrs. Qin in name is better than being your woman. Shi Shujing was embarrassed enough. She didn't want to be more humble in front of him. She straightened her back and said sarcastically. Most of the time, a woman was as sharp as a hedgehog, but in fact, it was to protect the softest part of herself. At this moment, Si Wenshin couldn't do anything to her. It was meaningless to continue arguing on this issue. The only thing he could do was to compromise for the time being. Let's go to the hospital for a checkup first. We'll talk about other things later. When they arrived at the hospital, Shi Shujing went into the examination room alone. The doctor said that he needed a full-body checkup. Si Wenshin smoked one cigarette after another in the corridor. The whole corridor was filled with the thick smell of smoke. The doctors and nurses who passed by all had opinions about this, but no one dared to stop him. He usually didn't smoke in the hospital. It was just that when he was in a bad mood, he lacked consideration and his mind was filled with the scars on Shi Shujing's body. He stood against the light, leaning against the wall with one foot on the wall. He raised his head and puffed a ring of smoke into the air. His eyebrows were dyed by the faint halo of light, making him look abnormally indifferent. No one could guess that he was actually very annoyed at the moment. The doctor came out. Si Wenshin took 2 steps forward and looked at her in silence. The female doctor pursed her lips and took off her mask. I've checked. There's no big problem. There are a few strangulation marks on his waist and wrists. They should be left when he was in a dispute with someone. Si Wenshin was relieved, but his heart was still heavy. He said, "Thank you." The doctor left and he continued to stand in the corridor waiting. When Shi Shujing came out of the examination room, she saw him smoking a cigarette with 2 fingers. In the light, the outline of his figure was also blurred, which made the atmosphere even colder. Surrounded by smoke, he looked a little dispirited. That pair of deep and indifferent eyes looked over without any warmth. They were sharp and deep and went straight to the heart. This time Shi Shujing didn't avoid his eyes. They looked at each other and she had a complicated feeling. The smell of disinfectant seeped into her nose. Shi Shujing felt a lump in her throat and her eyes turned red. Without a word she turned around and left. Si Wenshin pinched the cigarette and strode to catch up with her. When they were all gone, Su Jixin came out from the corner and checked the photo. Although it was still blurred, it was enough to be used as evidence. She really didn't expect to come to the hospital today and get such a big surprise. She laughed eerily. On the way back it was silent in the car. Both of them were in a bad mood. However, the road was extremely congested and they encountered a lot of red lights. Even the usually calm Si Wenxin was a little annoyed. They stopped in front of the traffic light and counted down to 58 seconds. He glanced at Shi Shujing. Chapter 81. She smiled sarcastically. What do you mean? Don't you know the result? I'm worried about your injuries. I thought he was a scumbag, but he's worse than a scumbag. What's the difference between treating a woman like a dog? Si Wenxin gritted his teeth and scolded. If you're willing, you can sue him for marital assault. He didn't assault me. A murderous glint flashed past Si Wenxin's eyes. He was ruthless. Even if he didn't, with the injuries on your body, I can sue the Qin family and make them pay for what they've done. Shi Shujing shook her head. But why did you do that? I can't tolerate a man hitting a woman. There are many cases of domestic violence in this world. Can you interfere in every single one of them? Not to mention that he didn't hit me. Even if he did, it's a matter between us as husband and wife. Shi Shujing bit her lips. I'm doing it willingly. You don't have to interfere. Si Wenxin was furious. What exactly do you like about him? What's worthy of your liking? Whether he's worthy or not is my business. It has nothing to do with you. If I wanted to get a divorce, I would have done it long ago. Since I've persisted for 3 years, it means that I have no intention of getting a divorce. Si Wenxin was furious. He wanted to say something, but the green light turned green and the car behind him honked to hurry him. He could only continue driving. His face was so dark that it could drip water. Actually, if she had to say something like that, Shi Shujing would naturally feel bad. However, she was too resistant to Si Wenxin. She instinctively retaliated like a hedgehog. Since things had come to this, she had the mentality of giving up. Anyway, the situation was already so bad and it couldn't get any worse. After driving for a while, Si Wenxin turned the steering wheel and turned into another road. He drove all the way to the riverside and stopped the car. In the distance, the cruise ship whistled, and the lights along the river spread far away. The orange light was hazy, and a bright moon hung in the distant night sky. It was the 15th day of the month and the moon was like a disc. Si Wenxin rolled down the window and lit a cigarette. The smoke lingered between his beautiful fingers. He glanced at Shi Shujing but did not say anything. After a night of torment, both of them were exhausted. This kind of tranquility was strange to Shi Shujing. When the two of them were together, it was mostly him teasing her and she fiercely retaliating like a hedgehog. There were rarely such moments of tranquility. Silence magnified his weariness. He leaned back in his chair, closed his eyes and rested. It was as if he was accumulating energy for the next battle. Si Wenxin exhaled a faint puff of smoke from his nose. The smell of nicotine calmed his mind. Shi Shujing, he suddenly called her name but he didn't look at her. Instead he looked at the road in front of him. His long eyelashes covered his eyelashes, forming a shadow that swayed in the night. His expression was deep. Do you hate me now? She did not say anything. Why do you think I pester you so much? Novelty? Can't get it? Shi Shujing answered in his heart. Both. Other than love, men only had these kinds of feelings for women. It didn't matter which kind it was. In short, they were all hateful. I don't have so much energy to worry about you and Qin Baiyuan. I feel sorry for you. Si Wenxin puffed out a ring of smoke. His voice returned to calmness, mellow like a mentor. When people are young, they are willing to sacrifice themselves for love. But when you live to my age, you will know that some people are not worth it. You are exhausting yourself on them and sooner or later they will wear you down. A really smart woman will not exhaust herself on someone who is not worth it. You know these principles but you are stubborn. But as time passes, things change. When you look back, the person or thing that made you want to die is actually not important. The reason why you are so stubborn is because you haven't met a better person. Of course this person might not be me. But at least it's definitely not Qin Baiyuan. Si Wenxin's side profile was like a quiet relief. His dark pupils were immersed in the orange light. His gaze was gentle and faint, and it was dyed with a touch of tenderness. At that moment, Shi Shujing suddenly felt that maybe he wasn't that hateful. Do you understand? He tilted his head and looked at her. His deep eyes made Shi Shujing's heart tremble. It was as if her softest spot had been poked. What I care about is how he treats you. I feel sorry for you, he said the word feel sorry, in such a deep and gentle manner. Shi Shujing trembled and had the urge to cry. There was sweetness and bitterness in her heart. All these years who really felt sorry for her. She was a woman, and she also yearned to be tenderly cared for by a man. The thorns on her body suddenly softened and turned into a bitter smile. I'm the one who got caught in my own trap. I deserve it. But what else can I do? I just love him and I can't help but love him. That's because you didn't try to jump out. As long as you're willing to try, there's nothing you can't do without. He guided her patiently. When Shi Shujing turned her head, she realized that he was already leaning against her. Their bodies were very close. That pair of deep eyes were within reach, focused and persistent. Her face was instantly dyed red, and even the roots of her ears were burning. She was afraid of this Si Wenchen because he had a charm that no woman could resist. The space in the car was so narrow, and Shi Shujing could only keep squeezing against the door. But he was pressing against her step by step, causing her body to heat up and her heart to be in her throat. Don't be like this. Shi Shujing grabbed onto the seatbelt nervously. She wanted to escape, but he was pressing her hand down, and his entire body was already on top of her. His burning gaze, breath, and fingers were all burning her intensely, causing her to have goosebumps all over her body. Shi Shujing's breathing was hurried, and her entire body was burning hot. She was like a weak and helpless deer that had fallen into a hunter's trap. Si Wenchen held her face and exerted a little force, causing her to be unable to break free. His fingers were caressing her skin, and it was so soft and supple that he couldn't bear to let go. As he caressed, he gradually increased his strength with a hint of hatred. He hated why she was so attractive to him, causing his eyes and heart to be unable to break free from her charm. His breathing gradually became hurried. Don't be like this. Let me get off. Shi Shujing softly moaned and squirmed a little, trying to make a final struggle. She realized that if this continued, the situation would become more and more difficult to deal with, and she would definitely not be able to resist. What are you afraid of? I'm also attracted to you, right? I'm not someone who has nothing to do with you. Admit it, you have feelings for me. Si Wenchen whispered into Shi Shujing's ear. Admit it, you have feelings for me? He was like a devil, tempting her to sell her soul to him, and she couldn't resist, feeling herself sinking deeper and deeper. He trapped her in his chest and she could only breathe in his breath. The faint nicotine mixed with the smell of alcohol could numb one's nerves, causing the atmosphere to become even more restless. At this moment, Si Wenchen was eager to give it a try. As his breathing became more hurried, his chest kept heaving up and down. Shi Shujing knew that he wanted to kiss her, and he didn't give her any chance to escape. His fingers slid down to her chin and pinched it, and the kiss came down just like that. The moment their lips touched, it was as if there was an electric current flowing through her body, and she couldn't help but shiver. This was their second kiss, but it was completely different from the last time. Last time, when he was angry, Si Wenchen only wanted to seize and attack, but this time, it was incomparably gentle. It was as gentle as a breeze, and it gradually made Shi Shujing's tense nerves relax, and she didn't resist fiercely. She was as docile as a sheep in his arms. Si Wenchen loosened his grip on her, and his hand slid down her face, her neck, and her collarbone. And Shi Shujing couldn't help but let out a moan. This strong stimulation slightly awakened her reason, and she suddenly realized what she was doing. She suddenly panicked and felt extremely embarrassed. Don't, please. Right now, Si Wenchen just wanted to tear her apart and ruthlessly embed her into his body. Only then would he be willing to fuse every drop of his blood with her. However, after that intense struggle, his pity for her finally won over his body. Si Wenchen used all his strength to control himself, clenched his fists and fiercely pushed away, his chest fiercely breathing. Shi Shujing escaped from death, and it took a long time for her soul to return to her body. She was so nervous that her heart was about to explode, and she was still in a state of shock. She simply couldn't imagine what kind of terrible disaster it would have brought if she had continued. Her little face was so scared that it turned pale. Perhaps it was because his kissing technique was too superb, or perhaps it was because she was in pain and fragile, but she actually enjoyed his kiss, and almost indulged in it and made a big mistake. Last time, she was able to comfort herself when he kissed her, but what about this time? He didn't force her at all, but she was bewitched by him. As a married woman, she felt a great shame. When people are at their weakest, they are often the easiest to be bewitched by the devil. She had already stepped one foot into the abyss, and could fall into eternal damnation at any time. Si Wenchen closed her eyes tightly, and it was difficult for her to suppress the fierce feeling. When she opened her eyes again, her eyes had regained their clarity, calmness, and bottomless depths. Because both of them knew very well that this kiss was not an accident, but because they couldn't control themselves, they didn't want to say anything about it. Shi Shujing was even more silent. The kiss set off a storm in her heart, and she needed time to calm down. Si Wenchen extinguished the cigarette halfway, then started the car and sent Shi Shujing downstairs to Gao Zhuqing's house. She didn't run away immediately but deliberately acted calm. She calmly unbuckled the seat belt, opened the car door and got out of the car. She even said politely to him, "Good night." She went upstairs. After entering the house, she walked to the balcony curtain and looked at the car downstairs for a long time before it drove away. The feeling in her heart was complicated. Gao Zhuqing worked late and Shi Shujing didn't see her. After feeding the kitten, he went to sleep. When he woke up and walked out of the living room, he saw Gao Zhuqing huddled on the sofa with her laptop, rushing to work. Her hair was messy and she was wearing a pair of 500-degree glasses. She only wore makeup and contact lenses at work and she was usually very sloppy at home. Gao Zhuqing was stunned for a moment. "You spent the night at my house last night?" Shi Shujing nodded and went into the kitchen to get a bottle of water. Chapter 82. I didn't get home until 2 o'clock. I was so dizzy that I didn't notice your shoes. Why did you come to my house again? Were you with Boss C last night? No. Shi Shujing's face turned red. She had sold herself out. Tisk tsk. You must be. Otherwise why are you blushing? After your date with Boss C, he won't be willing to send you back to the Qin family. Why don't you move in with me? We can share the rent. You miser. What are you talking about? I'm just an ordinary salaryman. I'm dirt poor. You're Boss C's woman. Do you really need that little bit of money? If you don't want it, I'll ask him for it. I'm sure he'll be happy to give it to me. He might even give me a check for 1 million yuan. He just helped you get a promotion. How can you ask him for money? I'm thick-skinned. What's there to be embarrassed about? You're worried about his money? How dare you say there's nothing between you two? Who would believe that? Shi Shujing rolled her eyes. Don't you have to work today? What's the breakfast? There are some steamed buns in the fridge. Make 2 bowls of cereal. How many times have I told you to eat less frozen food? Since you're up early, why don't you make some porridge? Gao Zhuqing was jealous of her. We salarymen just need to fill our stomachs. Unlike you, Mrs. Qin, you're so delicate. You're so particular about your breakfast. I don't want to talk to you. Shi Shujing went into the kitchen to prepare breakfast. After a while, Gao Zhuqing's screams came from the living room. Shi Shujing, come out. Something bad happened. Startled, she ran out in a hurry. What's wrong? You've been defamed. Shi Shujing snatched the notebook. The headline read in red. Mrs. Qin's night with a mysterious man. The report said that in order to take revenge on Qin Baiyuan's betrayal, she hooked up with a mysterious man and got pregnant. The two of them went to the hospital to have an abortion. The description was vivid as if it was true. There were also a few photos attached. One was of her getting into Si Wenchen's car, a few were of them coming out of Gao Zhuqing's mansion, and a few were secretly taken at the hospital last night. She looked sad as if she had just had a miscarriage. Shi Shujing was stunned. Gao Zhuqing stared at her stomach suspiciously. What are you thinking about? Shi Shujing patted her on the back. I'm not pregnant. We're going to the hospital for a checkup. Really? Gao Zhuqing still had a skeptical look on her face. Even you don't believe me? I believe you. But looking at the picture, it really was the case. From the looks of it, that bastard Qin Baiyuan had secretly sent someone to follow you for a period of time, and you actually didn't notice it at all? He was too careless. But that's fine too. It's best if they get divorced. Now is not the time to talk about this. Shi Shujing checked and found that all the entertainment gossip was reporting the rumors of her betrayal. The comment section was full of abuse and many were gloating. Wealthy families had always been talked about with great relish, and it could cause a great sensation. The consequences were simply unimaginable. In the past, Shi Shujing did not pay much attention to Qin Baiyuan's scandals. Occasionally he saw it in the newspaper, but he just glanced at it. He did not expect that he would become the heroine this time. For a moment, he was at a loss and anxiously asked Gao Zhuqing for help. What should we do now? What else can we do? So many people have seen it and it's too late to block the news. If your psychological endurance is strong enough, don't take it seriously. After a period of time, you will soon forget about it. Or you can take this opportunity to divorce Qin Baiyuan directly. Anyway, it's a divorce for him to take photos of you secretly. Instead of taking action first, it's better for you to strike first. These are all false reports. Boss C and I are not in that kind of relationship. Shi Shujing gritted his teeth. I don't want a divorce. No matter what, Shi Shujing still insisted that he did not want a divorce. It's not entirely up to you to decide whether you want a divorce or not. The sensation caused by these photos is enough to shame the Qin family. Do you think Qin Baiyuan will let you off so easily? I'll call him. Shi Shujing hurriedly picked up his mobile phone and dialed his number. The first 2 calls were hung up, and the third call was answered by a woman. Don't you find it annoying? It was the voice of a vixen. Shi Shujing did not care who the woman was now. Anyway, she was one of Qin Baiyuan's women. Where is Qin Baiyuan? My husband is taking a bath. Who are you? I'm his wife. It's so funny. I'm his wife. You? Shi Shujing was very angry. Put him on the phone. He's my husband now. Shameless bitch, don't call me again. He hung up. Hey, damn it. Gao Zhuqing could roughly guess what was going on and curled his lips. I know it's useless to call him. At this time, we still don't know which woman that bastard is with. Why are you looking for him? I think you should call Boss C first. He must have a way. Shi Shujing was against contacting Si Wenqin at this time. I don't want to. Why did you call him? Forget it. They can write whatever they want. How can a non-existent matter become real? It's really possible. Gao Zhuqing was solemn. You don't understand the power of the media and public opinion. They can turn fake into real and fake into fake. So what? Can they kill me? Shi Shujing made up his mind. Forget it. I'll do what I have to do. I'll deal with whatever comes my way. Anyway, I have a clear conscience. Qin Baiyuan came out of the shower, drying his hair with a big towel. The female model's eyes lit up when she saw his strong figure. She was infatuated with him. Darling, you have a good figure. Qin Baiyuan put on his shirt and tie, looking at her from the corner of his eyes. Who called you just now? A friend of mine. The female model had already deleted the call history. She spat in her heart. Shameless bitch, seducing her man and claiming to be his wife. Who didn't want to be his wife? Unfortunately, the position of Mrs. Qin was occupied by a bitch. While she was thinking, a piece of news came into her eyes. The young female model looked through it quickly. Her eyes lit up with excitement as she asked, suppressing her excitement. Darling, where's your wife? Qin Baiyuan's face darkened. I don't know. Your relationship is so bad. Aren't you worried that she will betray you? From her sly smile, Qin Baiyuan sensed that something was wrong. He frowned and grabbed her cell phone. The eye-catching title and intimate photos stung his nerves. His face turned green instantly. Weren't these photos in his cell phone? How did they get out? Su Zhixin's first reaction. Qin Baiyuan was so angry that his nerves were about to explode. He clenched the cell phone so hard that his bones were cracking. The female model was very proud of herself and said sarcastically on purpose. Your relationship is so bad. No wonder she couldn't bear it. But she is so bold. She dared to betray you as Mrs. Qin. Now she has made such a mess. I think she will, bang? The cell phone was smashed into pieces. The female model was frightened and shivered. Darling, you, Shi Shujing? Qin Baiyuan gritted his teeth. He was about to call and question when Yin Jingqi's call came in first. She questioned him as soon as the call was connected. How did those photos get out? Didn't I tell you to calm down? How dare you do that? I didn't send them out. Then who? Those women of yours again? Yin Jingqi was exasperated. I told you long ago that you can do whatever you want outside. Don't leave any evidence. Look at what happened now. What's the use of saying this? Qin Baiyuan was also impatient. That's better. Divorce her directly. Do you think those photos can convict her? As long as they didn't catch her in bed, she would definitely argue. At that time, your father would still believe her. She would alert the enemy. Now the Qin family is disgraced by that woman. It was her betrayal. Enough. Don't say anything now. Find her quickly and clarify to the reporters. Suppress this matter as soon as possible. Mom? Yin Jingqi hung up the phone. Qin Baiyuan had to call Shi Shujing. But that woman hung up. He called her using the hotel phone. Qin Baiyuan gritted his teeth and cursed. How dare you hang up on me? Didn't you hang up on me too? I thought you were busy and didn't want to disturb you. Qin Baiyuan glared at the little female model. She was shivering and her eyes were full of uneasiness. Where are you now? On the way to work. How can you still be in the mood to work when such a big thing happened? Qin Baiyuan was angry. The sky was about to fall on his side. How could she act as if nothing had happened? Was she heartless or brain-dead? Otherwise what? You are in the headlines every day. Don't you still go to work? I don't see you in a hurry. Are you and I the same? You are a woman. Now the whole Qin family is shamed because of you. Don't you feel ashamed? I have nothing to be ashamed of because those rumors are fabricated. The calmer her voice was, the angrier Qin Baiyuan was. If she appeared in front of him now, he couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't strangle her. He closed his eyes and suppressed his anger. Don't go to the company. Where are you now? Wait for me. Shi Shujing told him the address and hung up the phone. She sat on the roadside and waited. Although she was angry, she was still rational. Going to the company rashly now would only cause trouble. She had to discuss with Qin Baiyuan how to solve this problem. It was a little sad to think about it. She was just an ordinary woman who just wanted to live an ordinary life. However, once she was attached with the title of the wife of a rich family, even if the marriage was nominal, it would still attract much attention. There was no way to keep a low profile. It was clearly a matter between two people, but it became a hot topic for hundreds of millions of people. In fact, the person she wanted to marry was Qin Baiyuan, not the young master of the Qin family. She didn't want to provoke Si Wenxin even more. The arrogant roar of the motor resounded through the whole street. Shi Shujing looked up and saw a dazzling red arrow shooting at her like a sharp arrow. It stopped steadily in front of her. In the car, it was Qin Baiyuan's angry face. The veins on his forehead were bulging, and his temples were twitching violently. Chapter 83. Qin Baiyuan grasped the steering wheel tightly. His veins were like angry dragons hovering on the back of his hands. His eyes were tightly narrowed and he looked extremely dangerous. He didn't say anything. Shi Shujing was too lazy to take the initiative to speak. He closed his eyes and rested. When Qin Baiyuan saw this, he became even angrier. He gritted his teeth. Are you satisfied? Shi Shujing, don't play dead. What's wrong with me? You've made such a big mess and you still have the face to ask? Because of you, the whole Qin family has been disgraced. Are you happy now? Shi Shujing answered lightly. If you care about the Qin family's reputation, you won't be in the headlines every day. There are 365 days a year, and at least 300 of them are on the front page of the entertainment magazines. I've only been on it once. In comparison, I'm still far behind. How could she mock him with such a sharp tongue? Qin Baiyuan was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. Men and women are different. I can betray but you can't. Mrs. Qin was obtained by you shamelessly. As revenge, you unscrupulously trampled on her and disgraced the Qin family? You asked someone to take the photos secretly. When you took the photos, did you think about the Qin family's reputation? Do you think that I released them? I didn't say that. I believe that when you sent someone to follow me, you just wanted to find evidence for a divorce. But you didn't expect that one of your bedmates would spread the news. You shot yourself in the foot. I've already said that there is no impenetrable wall in the world. When you took the photos, you should have thought about it clearly. One day someone will see it. It was clear that he was in the right, but she was the one who argued as if he had done something wrong. Qin Baiyuan wanted to tear her eloquent mouth apart. In the past, it was up to him how he wanted to humiliate her. However, in the recent several arguments, she had the upper hand and forced him to be speechless. Her attitude was very arrogant, as if she had changed into a completely different person. Qin Baiyuan thought hatefully. All of these changes had started from the appearance of that damned wild man. Apart from unwillingness, he also felt a trace of jealousy. After being married for 3 years, Qin Baiyuan had tortured Shi Shujing in every possible way and made things difficult for her. Her pain was the source of his happiness. However, he never thought that the situation would be completely reversed one day. Now he was the one who took the initiative to pester Shi Shujing. He was driven mad by her, gnashed his teeth for her, and often felt powerless. While he hated Shi Shujing, he also hated Si Wenxin. It was that man who occupied his place in her heart. When he became insignificant, he could no longer provoke or hurt her. Qin Baiyuan's heart felt as if it was pierced by a thorn. Every time he breathed, his heart ached intensely, and it was suffocating to the point of being uncomfortable. Moreover, when this sort of discomfort accumulated to a certain extent, He didn't even have the strength to flare up, and he became even calmer instead. If it wasn't for your betrayal, those photos wouldn't have been taken. I didn't betray you. It was you who betrayed me. Although Shi Shujing felt guilty because of those 2 kisses, people's hearts were made of flesh. To put it bluntly, it was his torture that brought her to the brink of despair, which gave Si Wenxin the opportunity to take advantage of. After all, everyone had their weakest moments. However, she never had a place in Qin Baiyuan's heart. You know clearly whether you and him have done anything shameful. I'll settle this score with you later. Now the focus is to solve the problem. How to solve it? Hold a press conference to clarify? Haven't you been embarrassed enough? Anyway, I have an idea. Just do as I say later. While they were talking, they arrived at the company. The entrance was surrounded by a large group of reporters. Shi Shujing suggested entering from the back door, but Qin Baiyuan parked the car at the front door. Get out of the car. But, do as I say. Qin Baiyuan's eyes darkened, and he ordered in a domineering manner, which was very masculine. Shi Shujing had to get out of the car. It's President Qin and Mrs. Qin, someone shouted, and the reporters rushed over, surrounding the 2 of them. Shi Shujing was pushed back and forth. Fortunately, Qin Baiyuan grabbed her shoulders and held her tightly in his arms. This was the first time he took the initiative to protect her. His strong arms gave her a sense of security, which made her heart flutter. She looked up at his jaw. He was still as beautiful as before. He was as brave and strong as when he rescued her from a group of gangsters 10 years ago. He was her hero. The crowd around them was so turbulent, and she was like a small boat drifting in the wind and rain. His arms were her harbor, giving her a sense of security that no one else could achieve. President Qin, have you read the news about Mrs. Qin's betrayal? Mrs. Qin, are you doing this to get back at President Qin? There are rumors that you've divorced. Who is that mysterious man? The questions came like a flood, and the lights almost blinded Shi Shujing's eyes. In the dazzling white light, everyone's face was so ferocious, as if they had opened their bloody mouths to devour her. Her ears were buzzing. Qin Baiyuan held her with one arm and protected the back of her head with the other, in a protective posture. Shi Shujing was a little panicked in this kind of situation, but he was calm and the corners of his mouth curved up. Do we look like we're divorced? But the rumors about Mrs. Qin's betrayal are true, and there are so many photos. Did she go to have an abortion? Qin Baiyuan's eyes darkened, but the curve of the corners of his mouth was still calm. The website that spread the rumors has received a lawyer's letter. Do you want to accept it too? The reporters were so scared that they didn't dare to speak. The mysterious man in the photos is a partner of Blue Sky. My wife is the project manager, so it's normal for her to be in charge of receiving him. The so-called betrayal photos were deliberately taken from an angle. Many people from the company attended the dinner that day, but only the 2 of them were photographed. But someone said that at your wedding anniversary dinner, a woman claimed that she was pregnant with your child and made a scene at the dinner. You and Mrs. Qin pretended to be in love. Do you know better than me whether my wife and I are in love or not? Then the hospital photos. My wife was not feeling well, so he sent her to the hospital for a checkup. I have to thank him. What? Is there anything like the abortion department in the photos? A man and a woman going to the hospital means that they went to have an abortion. If one day your female colleague gets sick, would you dare to send her? Thank you for your concern, friends from the media, but these false rumors have a very negative impact on the Qin family, especially my wife. I will definitely get to the bottom of it. Qin Baiyuan said these words with a smile, but the hidden turbulence in his words made people even more nervous. The reporters still didn't give up. Then how can you prove that you and Mrs. Qin have a good relationship? Qin Baiyuan smiled, with a hint of frivolity. How can I prove it? The security guards came and protected Shi Shujing and Qin Baiyuan as they walked into the building. No one noticed that the mysterious man, the protagonist of the betrayal, was sitting in the back seat of a luxury limousine not far away. After reading the news, Si Wenxin expected that Shi Shujing would come directly to the company, so he waited for her here. He didn't expect that there would be more than one person, but also Qin Baiyuan. Seeing him holding her intimately, he felt quite displeased. Si Wenxin clenched his fists. His face was still calm, but his heart was already full of murderous intent. He rolled up the car window and looked ahead with gloomy eyes. His eyes were as deep as an ancient well, and his firm lips made a cold voice. Drive. In front of the reporters, Qin Baiyuan cared for Shi Shujing very much. However, as soon as they entered the building, he changed into a different person and threw her away. She just clung to him like a vine, so she lost her balance and almost fell. Qin Baiyuan looked at her with sharp contempt, as if he disliked her for being dirty. "You're so cheap." He left angrily. On the way upstairs, Shi Shujing suffered from the rolling eyes of many people. There were also 2 female employees who she didn't know standing behind her and said directly, "You have done such a shameless thing, and you still have the nerve to come to work." "That's right. If it were me, I would have found a hole to hide in." Disgusting. Women nowadays are getting more and more shameless. It's a disgrace to our blue sky. Other people in the elevator whispered and snickered. Shi Shujing stood in the middle, suffering the contemptuous eyes from all directions. She told herself over and over again in her heart to ignore them. There was no need to be angry with these people. However, she still couldn't help turning around and sneering at the 2 gossipy women. Whether there is betrayal or not is the business of the couple. What does it have to do with you? Do I need you to worry about it? Besides, is Blue Sky owned by you? They are just 2 ordinary employees. How can they be humiliated by you? Don't flatter yourself. Usually, Shi Shujing would swallow her anger in this kind of thing. The 2 gossipy women didn't expect her to fight back. They were stunned and their faces were burning. Although they were angry, they also had to weigh their status. After all, Shi Shujing was Mrs. Qin, the project manager of Blue Sky. If they quarreled, they would definitely be at a disadvantage, so they shut their mouths and said nothing. Everyone in the elevator lowered their heads and was as quiet as cicadas in winter. Shi Shujing strode out of the elevator, returned to her office, and threw herself on the leather chair. It was because she was too good-tempered that any Tom, Dick, or Harry dared to ride roughshod over her. People didn't appreciate her tolerance at all. Instead, they wanted more and more. She made up her mind not to be a soft persimmon in the future. As soon as she opened her laptop, the news about her and Si Wenshan popped up, and she immediately closed it. At this moment, the phone rang and the 3 words, Si Wenshan, vibrated on the screen. Shi Shujing frowned and hung up. In less than 2 seconds, the phone vibrated again. Shi Shujing hesitated. No matter how annoyed she was, she still had some scruples about Si Wenshan's identity. Moreover, there would be cooperation in the future, so she didn't dare to lose her temper and could only accept it. "Bossy, did you see the news?" "Yes." The whole city was in an uproar. Even the blind saw it. Shi Shujing held her breath. "Don't worry, I will solve it. It won't affect your reputation." "Do you think I will worry?" "But it's not good to have this kind of scandal. I will wait for you at the Hilton Hotel at 10 o'clock tonight." Shi Shujing felt that it was unbelievable. Now that this kind of thing has happened, I think it's better for us not to meet for the time being. What she didn't say was that they would meet at the hotel at 10 o'clock tonight. Was there something wrong with his brain, or did he want the world to be in chaos? Chapter 84. There are no new developments in the design department. If there are, you can contact me through the computer. I don't like to face a cold computer. It's boring. Boss C. Shi Shujing tried to calm himself down. At this time, the media is paying close attention to my every move. If other photos are taken, I won't be able to clear my name even if I jump into the Yellow River. You don't have to worry because you are single, but I have a husband. Please consider my position. I'm looking for you to discuss how to solve this problem. Your identity hasn't been exposed yet. We are also trying to contact the media. You don't have to worry. I said, I'm not worried about myself. He seemed to be a little impatient. His voice didn't sound as calm as usual. There seemed to be a trace of anger in it. Shi Shujing didn't know where this anger came from. He didn't know what to say, so he still declined. You don't want to come to me, or do you want me to go to the company directly to find you? No. Shi Shujing stood up anxiously. Don't come. There are reporters outside the company now. It'll be bad if you are photographed. Then think about it yourself. After saying this, Si Wenshan hung up the phone, leaving Shi Shujing in a dilemma. Su Jishin's office was like a tornado passing through. Everything on the table was smashed and the floor was in a mess. Only the laptop was playing the news. After venting her anger, Su Jishin was tired and breathless. Her hatred was like a sharp poisonous thorn, and her beautiful face became ferocious and vicious. She thought that this incident could lead to a divorce between them, but she didn't expect it to turn out like this. Qin Baiyuan rushed into the office to denounce her. He didn't expect the floor to be in a mess. His footsteps paused, but he directly stepped on the debris and walked over. He punched the desk and growled. Look at what you've done. What have I done? Su Jishin pointed at the screen angrily. You owe me an explanation. What the hell is going on? You still have the cheek to ask? If you didn't expose the photos, do you think I need to remedy it like this? There are many ways to remedy it. Why this? Su Jixin took a step forward and said aggressively. You might as well say that you liked her a long time ago. Otherwise, why didn't you divorce her? That's between me and her. It's none of your business. The veins on Qin Baiyuan's forehead bulged. I've already warned you not to think you're smart. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. How dare you? He gritted his teeth. Since you don't know what's good for you, then let's break up now. Resign and get lost. Su Jixin is so angry that her eyes are red. She sneers bitterly. You think I'm only doing this for myself? Don't tell me it's for me. I didn't ask you to do this. I'm doing this for our child. I don't want him to be born a bastard. Child? Qin Baiyuan was seriously injured and was stunned. He looked at her abdomen in disbelief. You're pregnant? Impossible. No matter how crazy he was with the women outside, he would always take adequate safety measures. Air condoms only have a 99% chance of contraception. I'm that 1%. Qin Baiyuan's ears are buzzing. Out of a fluke mentality, he is sure that Su Jixin is lying. Impossible. Don't try to lock me up with this trick. I don't believe it. If you don't believe it, go and check it now. What else do you want to say? You suspect that it's my child with another man? Qin Baiyuan, don't be too shameless. For more than a year you're my only man. I've never done anything wrong to you. Su Jixin has thrown caution to the wind. She has the upper hand and forced him to take a step back. If you don't believe it, we can do a paternity test after the child is born. Anyway, the child is yours. Don't you dare to deny it. Qin Baiyuan had no choice but to accept the truth when he saw how confident she was. The situation was already complicated enough. If a child suddenly appeared, it would be like adding hail to snow. No matter what she said, he would not accept it. I'll take you to the hospital in the afternoon. Although this is an expected reaction, he said this without hesitation, which still makes Su Jixin suffer a great blow. Her face suddenly turns from red to white. This is your child. How can you be so cruel? I never want to have a child. Am I not qualified to give birth to your child? Only Shi Shujing is qualified? In anger, Su Jixin has a glimmer of hope. She grasps Qin Baiyuan's arm and fights for it eagerly. Shi Shujing's betrayal and I'm pregnant. It's the best time to divorce. Maybe your father will agree. Even if he doesn't like me, he has to give face to the child. You don't know him. Qin Baiyuan interrupts with annoyance. Except for Shi Shujing, he won't recognize any woman as his daughter-in-law. Let's forget about the photo. Let's solve the child first. The word solve fully shows his attitude towards the child. He treats it as a trouble. After being disheartened, Su Jixin reacts excitedly. The child is mine. I can't abort it. Don't be crazy. Let's forget about this time, but I can't let you keep the child. Qin Baiyuan snorts heavily. I'll give you another week. If you can't figure it out, I'll arrange the operation for you myself. Shi Shujing doesn't want to be affected by the news. He doesn't turn on the computer all day and works overtime absent-mindedly until 9 o'clock. Seeing that the appointed time with Si Wenxin is approaching, his mood is really heavier than going to the grave. She goes downstairs wearing a mask and a hat. There are a lot of reporters around the door. She goes into the garage to get the car and stealthily drives away when they don't pay attention. But after driving for a while, she finds that a car is following her, and there are reporters holding cameras in the car to take pictures. She takes a few big circles but can't get rid of them. She has to call Si Wenxin. Have you arrived? No. I'm being followed by reporters. I can't get rid of them. Shall we make an appointment another day? Where are you now? Huichuan Avenue? You take a few circles with them first. I'll send someone to pick you up. Shi Shujing does as she is told. After about 15 minutes, a car turns out from the corner and blocks the reporter's car. She takes the opportunity to slip away. When she arrives at the hotel, she keeps her head down and walks. She feels very uneasy that there are so many reporters around her. She asks the lobby manager for the room where Si Wenxin is. Obviously he has arranged it in advance. The manager takes her to a secret passage. When they go to the top floor, the manager leaves. Shi Shujing looks around for a while and knocks on the door after making sure that there is no one. The door opens. Si Wenxin has just taken a shower. His hair is still wet. He is wiping it with a towel. He is covered with a loose nightgown, revealing his strong chest with some water drops. He looks at her calmly and elegantly with a radiant smile. Looking at his calm face, Shi Shujing is even more depressed. Is he a person who doesn't care about anything? She is so anxious here, but he is like an outsider. Not only is he shameless, but he also wants to see the world in chaos. She walks into the room. The high-standard presidential suite is very luxurious. Outside the floor-to-ceiling window is the bustling night view, overlooking the whole city. What is there for him to worry about when he can stand in such a position? There is a reason for him to be so calm. For him, it is just being with a married woman. What is it? Who dares to criticize him? Anyway, the responsibility is on her. It is estimated that women will curse her and envy her for not only occupying the title of Mrs. Qin, but also for being able to climb up the high branch of Si Wenqin. Did you encounter any trouble? Si Wenqin throws the towel, walks to the bar and chooses a bottle of red wine. He smiles at her from a distance. His smile makes Shi Shujing's heart tremble a little. His smile is magical. Oh. Si Wenqin selects a bottle carefully. He holds the red wine in his left hand and 2 goblets in his right hand and walks over. His hair is wet and he is not so serious and cold. Looking at his posture, he seems like a veteran who often brings women to such places. He sits down and pours 2 glasses of red wine. Seeing that Shi Shujing is still standing a few steps away, looking at him warily, the corner of his mouth curls up. Why are you standing so far away? I will not eat you up. He pats the seat beside him. Come and sit. What's the matter? Just say it. After that, I am going home. Go home. Which house? Si Wenqin asks slowly, crossing his legs elegantly. One of his long arms is placed lazily on the sofa, stretching beautifully. He takes a sip of red wine. Will the Qin family still tolerate you after such a scandal? There was a hint of schadenfreude in his words. Shi Shujing noticed that Si Wenqin was acting strangely tonight. He seemed more casual than usual, but there was an indescribable danger to him. The more he smiled, the worse his mood was. There was a hidden mystery behind it. Shi Shujing becomes even more nervous. This is a problem between me and the Qin family. I naturally have my ways to resolve it. That's true. But as the male lead of the news, I have the responsibility to care about you. If you really fall out with the Qin family, I will be responsible for you. Thank you for your kindness, Boss C, but I don't need it. Perhaps you should thank me. If not for this scandal, the incident in the morning wouldn't have happened. Si Wenqin narrowed his eyes. His gaze was deep and gloomy with a hint of coldness. Shi Shujing shudders. She didn't pay attention to the developments for the whole day, but she knows that the news must be everywhere. It's impossible that it didn't reach Si Wenqin's ears. His strange behavior tonight must have something to do with that incident. Shi Shujing's sense of crisis is even stronger. Si Wenqin raises the wine glass and swirls it slowly. He looks at her uneasy expression through the scarlet liquid and smiles. I want to know, compared with Qin Baiyuan, which one makes you feel more? Boss C, don't you think it's inappropriate to ask me here at this time to ask such questions? I'm just curious, Si Wenqin says casually. Just like you women, you always like to compare yourself with your ex. This analogy is not appropriate. Qin Baiyuan is my husband, and you are just my client. Chapter 85. Si Wenqin held the wine glass in one hand and pondered. Even if I let you go, will the Qin family let you go? You know very well where those photos came from. Qin Baiyuan has been trying to blackmail you. You also know why. Not to mention that he has no feelings for you. Even if he does, no man can bear to wear such a big hat. In his eyes, you are very dirty. But our relationship is not what the outside world thinks at all. Si Wenqin made a shushing gesture. The more anxious she was, the calmer he was, and the beautiful ripples appeared between his brows. Don't be in a hurry to cut off our relationship. Do you dare to say that there is nothing between us? Even if Qin Baiyuan used such a stupid way to make up for it in the afternoon, the people outside will still think that you betrayed me and are a couple with me. With the prestige of the Qin family, they definitely can't bear to suffer such a great humiliation. Even if they don't drive you out this time, they will definitely see you as a thorn in their side. If you continue to stay in the Qin family, you won't be able to hold on for long. It's better to divorce gracefully, and at least you can keep a little dignity. Shi Shujing was so angry that he was trembling. Why should I get a divorce for a false accusation? Isn't that equivalent to confirming the betrayal rumors? Anyway, the divorce will happen sooner or later. Why do you have to force it? You know nothing about me. Don't put on the attitude of a savior. I've already apologized for the trouble I've caused you and will try my best to make up for it. I won't affect your reputation. If you're a man, don't bother me anymore. Shi Shujing left these words and fled. However, Si Wenchen was as agile as a cheetah. He strode over, grabbed her fair wrist, and pushed her heavily against the French window. She was frightened and gasped. She looked at him in horror and struggled. Let go. I told you to let go. Bastard, she anxiously cursed. Let go of me, what? You want to escape after provoking me? How can you do that? Si Wenchen lowered his head. His lips were at the same level as her neck, and he could easily bite down on her fair and beautiful neck. He coldly smiled, but the breath he exhaled was incomparably hot, dyeing her skin red. In the midst of Shi Shujing's intense struggle, her glasses fell off and her hair was disheveled. Her fine black hair fell down and messily draped over her cheeks, making her small face look even more charming. Her frightened look made Si Wenchen's throat choke. You're crazy. I'm looking for you to talk about cooperation. I didn't provoke you. Shoo. Si Wenchen pinched Shi Shujing's lips and rubbed them with his rough fingertips, causing an electric current to burn Shi Shujing in pain. However, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't break free. Instead, she sank deeper into his broad chest. She was trapped between his arms, unable to move. Si Wenchen's lips rubbed against her neck, and he whispered against her lips. You didn't reject the kiss last night. Should I take it that you have feelings for me, or are you just that casual? Shi Shujing fiercely retaliated. I don't have any feelings for you. I'm just a casual woman. Are you satisfied now? She really didn't know where his desire to control her came from. She wasn't even his woman, so what right did he have to say those harsh words to her? She shouldn't have to endure all of this. Hee, Si Wenchen laughed coldly. His smile was so cold that it was scary, as though a storm was brewing. Is that so? Then let's see how casual you are. The moment he moved, Shi Shujing was so frightened that she screamed. Si Wenchen, stop. What are you doing? Don't be like this, let go of me. Si Wenchen, let go of me. Stop. Aren't you very casual? Why are you pretending to struggle? Or do you think it's more fun this way? Pretending to be aloof? Trying to reject? Is this the method you've been using to toy with me? The mocking voice squeezed the crown of his teeth, as though every word was a sharp thorn. He grabbed both of her wrists and pulled them above her head. With a passionate smile, he bent down and kissed her lips fiercely. The situation was getting out of control. Just when Si Wenchen was about to lose his mind, the phone on the coffee table rang as though it was urging him to keep on calling if he didn't pick it up. To Shi Shujing, this was the last straw of hope. She screamed even more anxiously and almost shouted herself hoarse as she screamed shrilly. Si Wenchen, you bastard, let go of me. Let go of me. At the beginning, Si Wenchen didn't stop his invasion. However, as the phone rang again and again, he suddenly remembered the arrangements for tonight. Things had turned out like this, completely out of his control. Even he himself was surprised. After all, he had always been calm, and this was the first time he had lost control like this. His concern for her had already exceeded his imagination. Si Wenchen's body froze. In his pitch-black eyes, the flames had yet to subside. He looked at her tear-stained face and her pitiful appearance. She looked like an abused doll, and he was actually the perpetrator. As the anger had yet to dissipate, Si Wenchen also felt a little regretful. He shouldn't have treated a woman like this, especially the woman he liked. When he thought of this, he suddenly calmed down, and all that was left was pity and regret for her. Suddenly, as though he didn't know how to face her, he turned his face away and took his phone back. The betrayal news, the child, all of these things were entangled in his mind non-stop. For the entire day, Qin Baiyuan was extremely frustrated. All of this made him hate Shi Shujing even more. Her appearance had completely ruined his life. All of his troubles started from the moment she forced him to marry her. Ever since he married that jinx, he hadn't had a single good day. Damn it. After getting rid of the reporters, he wanted to go to the bar to look for a woman. However, his phone vibrated and a multimedia message came in. Qin Baiyuan glanced at it as he drove. Enraged, he was so distracted that he almost crashed into the car opposite him. He hurriedly made a turn and stepped on the brakes. In the photo was the back view of a woman sneaking into the Hilton Hotel. However, Qin Baiyuan could tell at a glance that it was Shi Shujing. He was too familiar with that back view. He would never forget it even if he died. He called back, but the phone was turned off. Right now, Qin Baiyuan wasn't in the mood to guess who was following Shi Shujing. In short, it was all this woman's fault. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been caught. If she went to the hotel at this time, it was obvious that she was going to have a rendezvous with a wild man. Now that the world had turned upside down, didn't she know how to restrain herself a little? Was she that impatient? Qin Baiyuan thought jealously and angrily. He called Shi Shujing, but no one picked up after 3 consecutive calls. He was so annoyed that he cursed, "Bitch." He turned around and rushed to the Hilton Hotel. As soon as he arrived at the entrance, he saw a large group of reporters rushing in. Ding dong. Ding dong. The urgent doorbell broke the silence of the night, one more urgent than the other. The reporters surrounded the door and had already set up their positions. All of them were so excited that their eyes were shining. They were like wolves, heartless and ruthless. After following the betrayal news for a day, they had already gone home, but suddenly received a photo of Shi Shujing entering the hotel at the same time. Hearing the news, they all rushed over to catch the adulterer. Ding dong. Ding dong. Ding dong. Ding dong. After a dozen rings, the door opened. As soon as the door was opened, the camera flashes kept flashing. It was as dazzling as a solar eclipse, almost blinding Shi Shujing's eyes. She reached out to block the flashes and frowned. The reporters seemed to have gone crazy, fighting to be the first to squeeze in. "Mrs. Qin, did you come to the hotel so late to meet the mysterious man? So, the scene at the entrance of Blue Sky this morning was just an act? Are you divorced? Did you betray President Qin to get back at him?" Qin Baiyuan was not there, and Shi Shujing had no status, so the reporters were even more fearless. Sharp questions came from all directions. Shi Shujing was a little used to the flashes, but she still felt uncomfortable. Her face was gloomy. "What are you doing? Even reporters should have professional ethics. Why are you doing this? I can sue you." The reporters didn't care. She was only Mrs. Qin in name and she was not threatening at all. Plus, she was the one who betrayed them. If they made a big deal out of it, she would be the one embarrassed. "Are you here to meet the man? Is the mysterious man inside? What are you doing in the hotel so late at night?" With so many people suddenly coming to attack her, Shi Shujing was furious. She felt like she was about to explode. She clenched her teeth. "Don't make irresponsible remarks. You have to bear legal responsibility for slander. We still don't know if it's slander or not. If there is a man inside, it's not slander." "That's right. Let's go in and take a look. This is my private place. Why should I let you in?" "Only by going in can you prove your innocence, Mrs. Qin," the reporters mocked. "Yeah. There's no one inside. What are you afraid of? I think you have a guilty conscience, that's why you don't dare to let us in. Isn't that right? You've already been exposed, why are you still hiding? It's not like you don't know." The reporters were all restless. The situation was getting more and more out of control. At this moment, the people in the middle were pushed by the people at the back. They squeezed forward like dominoes. One by one they squeezed in. The one at the front pushed Shi Shujing aside, and a large group of reporters rushed in. Shi Shujing was furious and tried to push them out. "Get out! Get out!" But the situation was completely out of control. How could the reporters listen to her? Every one of them was like a husband coming to catch him in the act of adultery. They turned the whole room upside down, but they couldn't find anyone. The reporters looked at each other, unwilling to give up. "He's outside," someone shouted, and the reporters all swarmed out. A few rooms away, the male lead of the betrayal news was standing there, calm and elegant, as noble as a god. The lights in the corridor were dim, but he was the only one that stood out. There seemed to be a ray of light around him, attracting people's attention, but at the same time, they didn't dare to look directly at his light. They were in awe of him, but they couldn't help but be attracted to him. In short, it was very complicated. But he wasn't alone. A tall mixed-race beauty was holding his arm, and they looked like a perfect couple. The situation was reversed. The reporters didn't find the adulterer in Shi Shujing's room. On the contrary, he stood calmly in the corridor without any aura of an adulterer. He was dignified, cold, and well-dressed. For a moment, the reporters were stunned, and they couldn't think of any words to describe his nobility. Chapter 86. You are Mrs. Qin's mysterious man? What's your identity? Don't you know that Mrs. Qin has a husband? Aren't you afraid that CEO Qin will seek revenge? How long have you been together? The reporters were all fierce like greedy beasts, trying to get the information they wanted from him. However, Si Wenchen had a cold aura around him, and they automatically kept a meter away from him, as if being too close to him was an extremely dangerous thing to do. Although his identity was still a mystery, the reporters had good eyesight. One look and they knew that this man was not simple, and even Qin Baiyuan paled in comparison. After all, Blue Sky was a big family in Flozen City, and Qin Baiyuan was the only heir, which was enough to make people tremble in fear. However, most of his deterrence came from his family, and this man in front of them, all of his authority came from himself, which was even more frightening. They even secretly thought that if Shi Shujing was with such a man, then it would be understandable. He was calm and noble, and indeed much more outstanding than Qin Baiyuan. In comparison, Qin Baiyuan was just a young boy and could not be compared to him in terms of aura. The reporters kept asking questions, but Si Wenqin's eyes went through them and fell directly on Shi Shujing. Her little face was pale, and she pretended to be strong because of the situation. However, from her wet eyes, he could see through her weakness as well as the hatred and fear she had towards him. He knew very well that he had really hurt her tonight. Si Wenqin retracted his gaze and faced the reporters who were like wolves and tigers, but he remained calm. As CEO Qin said, Manager Shi and I are just partners, not like the rumors say. But how do you explain those photos? Deliberately looking for an angle to shoot and create a false impression, isn't that what you reporters usually do? It's obvious that someone is trying to frame you and take things out of context. As experienced reporters, how can you believe it? The reporters were skeptical. You mean the two of you aren't alone together? Of course not. As soon as Sarah spoke, the microphones all turned towards her. I'm also an employee of Blue Sky. That day, Manager Shi wasn't the only one present. There were several other employees as well. In the end, it became those two. I'm also very helpless. She smiled and looked at Shi Shujing, who was a few meters away. In fact, Manager Shi and I are very good friends. I can prove that their relationship is purely a cooperative one. From afar, on that smiling face, Shi Shujing saw Sarah squint her eyes as if she was being sarcastic. She lowered her head guiltily. I forgot to introduce. This is my girlfriend Sarah. Si Wenqin said. The reporters were stunned and couldn't tell right from wrong. In fact, they all knew that those photos were deliberately taken from different angles. However, it was inevitable that it would arouse suspicion when it was photographed repeatedly. In short, the truth was confusing and they were also confused. At present, my company is negotiating a cooperation project with Blue Sky, so I have more contact with Manager Shi in private. She is an excellent partner. I really admire her very much, but she is definitely not as improper as the rumors say. I respect her very much. Shi Shujing laughed at Si Wenqin's ability to lie through his teeth. As a man who had been in the business world for so many years, what kind of storms had he not seen? He had long been trained to have a body of copper skin and iron bones. Even when he was lying, he would not blink. Compared to him, his skills were pitifully low and he was no match at all. It was no wonder that he could only be toyed with by him. His expression was open and frank, very convincing. The reporters were even more shaken. With his identity, he could have any woman he wanted. It was really not worthwhile to provoke a wife who had been through hardships. Shi Shujing was old-fashioned and ugly, not at all comparable to the beautiful Sarah beside him. Any man with a brain would choose Sarah. There were still reporters who were unwilling to give up and asked, "Then why did you appear in the same hotel so late at night? Is it just a coincidence?" All the reporters focused their eyes on Shi Shujing. She bit her lips and her face was pale. Obviously, she was an easier point of attack. Just when her mind was in a mess and she couldn't find a reason, a voice with a smile came in. Of course he was waiting for me. The sudden appearance of Qin Baiyuan made the situation more complicated. The reporters were all confused. Boss Qin? Under all kinds of shocked and suspicious eyes, Qin Baiyuan walked over elegantly. He had a completely different style from Si Wenqin. He was arrogant like a playboy, and his facial features were as beautiful as a painting. He had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was in high spirits and was so beautiful that it made people jealous. He strode over and pulled Shi Shujing, who was still stunned, into his arms. He lowered his head and kissed her on the forehead. Shi Shujing was stung by a cold light. Others couldn't see it, but she could clearly feel Si Wenqin's displeasure. Her hair stood on end. She instinctively wanted to break free from Qin Baiyuan's arms, but he firmly held her, making her completely unable to move. The reporters looked at Si Wenqin and then looked at Qin Baiyuan with their mouths wide open. Boss Qin, how could you? Didn't I say it before? The so-called adulterer in your newspaper is actually a partner of Blue Sky. In order to avoid the impact of this mistake on the cooperation between the two companies, I made an appointment with him to apologize in person. I didn't expect you to be so well informed and arrive earlier than me. That's good. Take advantage of this opportunity. Everyone is here to clarify the misunderstanding. The adulterer you mentioned, my real girlfriend, is a staff of Blue Sky, and my wife and I have a very good relationship. It has been proved this morning. Do you still need to prove it? Sarah clearly felt the arm of the man next to her tightened. His expression was still indifferent, but his jaw was tightly closed, and his body exuded a murderous aura. Shi Shujing trembled as if she had been electrocuted. Her first reaction was to look at Si Wenchen, and she seemed to be anxious to clarify in fear. Qin Baiyuan saw through this and was sure that Shi Shujing was afraid that he would misunderstand their relationship. He felt that he was the third party, which was extremely absurd. He was so angry that he wanted to chop Si Wenchen, especially his sanctimonious look, which made him feel even more disgusted. However, the angrier he was, the more relaxed he looked. He took the initiative to hold Shi Shujing's hand and walked in front of the other party. For this mistake, I sincerely apologize to Mr. C and the Ocean Group for the trouble it has caused. Shi Shujing did not expect that he would deliberately expose Si Wenchen's identity, and he could not stop him at all. The reporters whispered. It's actually Mr. C. No wonder. Oh my God, an abandoned woman's betrayal turned out to be the famous Mr. C. Unbelievable. Mr. C is a legend in the business world, a big shot with a reputation. How could he be shameless enough to seduce my wife? Putting his identity aside, a normal man doing this kind of thing is also disdainful. Oh no, he can't even be called a man. Of course, Si Wenchen could hear that Qin Baiyuan was mocking him. This kind of childish scum, it would lower his status to pay attention to him. However, he was especially unhappy with Qin Baiyuan now. He took a step forward, and his momentum overwhelmed Qin Baiyuan. This rumor will not affect me at all. However, President Qin, you should probably reflect on yourself. Why is public opinion so easily led? If the relationship between you and your wife is good, you wouldn't have made such a scene. Using the method of showing off your love to make up for it is just a cover-up. Instead of that, it's better to be on less gossip headlines and cherish the people in front of you. Otherwise, if you are accused of something and the Blue Sky is also shamed, it will be your responsibility, President Qin. Not only did he fail to humiliate people, but he was also ridiculed. Qin Baiyuan felt a little embarrassed. No wonder he could be together with Shi Shujing. Both of them were equally shameless. They cheated but still pretended to be dignified as if they were righteous gentlemen. Shameless. With so many reporters present, Qin Baiyuan suppressed his anger and stretched out a hand in a friendly manner. Thank you for your reminder, Mr. C. I hope we can have a pleasant cooperation in the future. Si Wenchen glanced at his hand and seemed to sneer with some contempt. Then he left with Sarah. Qin Baiyuan's mouth twitched a little. He took back his hand and put it back into his trouser pocket. He still looked like a child, but his heart was as horrible as a demon. On the way back, Qin Baiyuan drove like crazy and completely lost control. In a flash, the surrounding scenery moved backward at the speed of light, as if the car would crash and people would die at any time. Shi Shujing felt that death was around her, but she did not show weakness to Qin Baiyuan. She grasped the seat belt tightly and gritted her teeth. Anyway, it was meaningless to live in pain like this. Death was a kind of relief. In his anger, no insult was enough to make Qin Baiyuan vent his anger. He gritted his teeth. T. Are you satisfied now that things have turned out like this? Is this your purpose? Is this your way to revenge me? If you have any dissatisfaction, come to me. Don't let the whole Blue Sky be ashamed with you. T. Shi Shujing closed her eyes and turned a deaf ear. It's no use pretending to be dead. Talk to me. The car echoed with Qin Baiyuan's angry curse. Did you hear that? T. I want you to answer me. In the face of Qin Baiyuan's angry questioning, Shi Shujing was tired to deal with it. Her voice was also very light and tired. What do you want me to answer you? The rumor has just started and you can't wait to find him? You can't even bear it for a moment and you just want to throw yourself at him? She opened her mouth, but he interrupted her fiercely. I know what you want to say. You want to say that you were very innocent before and not as dirty as I thought, right? Then why don't you explain to me where your stockings went? What? Nothing to say? I don't know what tricks he played to make Sarah out of thin air as a shield, but look at you. Who knows what good things you have done? The more Qin Baiyuan said, the angrier he became. He made a long "oh" sound. I know you two women serve a man together? No wonder it is said that the more virtuous a woman is on the surface, the dirtier she is behind the scenes. You pretend to be a chaste woman in front of me, but when you turn around you even have a threesome. I really have a whole new level of respect for you. It be asterisk tisish like you should be struck by lightning. Chapter 87. Si Wenxin thought that she had betrayed him, and Qin Baiyuan angrily accused her of having an affair. She had suffered insults from both sides as if she was really a lowly woman. However, in fact, one of them spent all day drinking and never treated her as his wife. The other one just wanted novelty and an interesting toy. Neither of them was sincere to her. Why should she suffer the humiliation of such two people? In a fit of anger, she blurted out a roar. Shut up. What right do you have to criticize me? Yes, you think I'm dirty, but aren't you dirty? How dare you despise me? It's like the pot calling the kettle black. I know whether I betrayed you or not. It's not up to you to tell me what to do. That's right, I just want to take revenge on you. Don't you want a divorce? I'm going to lock you up. Even if I betray you, I'm going to drag you down with me. You once said that I only have myself to blame, so even if I have to live as a widow, I have to sit in the position of Mrs. Qin until the end. Then I'll give you the same words now. Even if I betrayed you, you asked for it. You should wear this hat and be your Mr. Qin. Qin Baiyuan was furious. Sure, Shujing, I'll kill you sooner or later. Qin Yuning called and asked the two of them to go home together. As soon as they entered the door, the maid reminded Shi Shujing with her eyes that the situation was not good. After entering the study, Qin Yuning and Yin Jingqi were sitting on the sofa, as if they were having a joint trial. Qin Yuning, who had always been very kind to her, also had a serious expression at the moment. He had already smoked several cigarettes. Qin Baiyuan angrily sat on the sofa with a gloomy face, as if the whole world owed him an attitude. Shi Shujing's expression did not change as he greeted them. Dad, Mom. Qin Yuning nodded. Yin Jingqi snorted coldly and sarcastically. Don't call me that. I can't afford it. Shi Shujing sat down and looked at Qin Yuning, wanting to see what his attitude was. He pondered for a while. Probably because he had already lost his temper, he was calm at the moment and sighed. The matter this time is very ugly. Shi Shujing, Dad wants to ask you, is the rumor true? Shi Shujing shook his head. No. Qin Baiyuan was so angry that he almost jumped up. Why not? You've already taken those photos. The evidence is irrefutable and you still have the cheek to deny it? Shut up. Qin Yuning berated. I'm asking Shi Shujing. You have no right to speak. He composed himself. All right. Since you said you didn't, I'll believe you. Originally, I also thought that this matter wasn't like what the report said, but that someone was intentionally framing me. Yin Jingqi rolled her eyes. Dad, what kind of drug did this woman give you? You actually trust her that much? It was an obvious fact. Just because she said no, you were deceived? Do you believe me if I say that the rumors about me are also false? Don't mention those things. Shi Shujing isn't like you. That's because you've been deceived by her, that's why you said that. I know very well what kind of person she is. On the surface she pretends to be noble, but behind the scenes she has done all kinds of shameful things. To be honest, I've long noticed that she and Mr. C were having an affair. I asked someone to take those photos. Qin Baiyuan. Yin Jingqi hurriedly stopped him. Don't talk nonsense. Qin Yuning sneered. Don't tell me that I can't guess it if you don't tell me? Isn't it enough that you've smeared the Qin family's name so much? Do you want to make the Qin family a laughingstock? How could I have raised such an unfilial son like you? Qin Baiyuan felt that it was absurd. Get this straight. She was the one who had an affair. Isn't it normal for me to find someone to follow her and catch her in the act? Am I supposed to wear this hat in silence? Don't say that I believe that Shi Shujing didn't do anything wrong to the Qin family. Even if she did, it's you who broke her heart. Qin Baiyuan's emotions completely collapsed. He slammed the table and stood up. Are you old and confused? You can't tell right from wrong? What's so good about her? You're so biased towards her that you don't even want your own son. Now that she's betrayed you, you should kick her out of the house. Fine. I don't care about that. In short, I can't swallow my anger now that such a scandal has happened. I want a divorce. Qin Yuning's attitude was also very firm. Don't even think about it. This is my marriage. What right do you have to order me? Because I'm your father. Just because you want to take over Blue Sky and get my consent. If you want a divorce, fine. You and I will cut off our relationship as father and son. I'll let you do whatever you want. Qin Baiyuan's face was full of disbelief and anger. You actually cut off your relationship with your own son for her? If you don't know what's good for you, I'll pretend that I don't have a son like you. The father and son were like fire and water. Yin Jingqi hurriedly stopped Qin Baiyuan and signaled him not to intensify the conflict. She whispered in his ear, "Bear with it. It's not worth it to lose blue sky for this woman." Qin Baiyuan closed his eyes. Thinking about blue sky, he finally suppressed his anger and gritted his teeth. Now that the whole world knows that she betrayed me, how can I continue to be with her? I can't wear this hat. The Qin family can't afford to lose this face. Mr. C has already personally clarified it. I read the latest reports that this is just a misunderstanding. After a period of time, when the storm of public opinion has passed, everyone will naturally figure out the truth. Qin Baiyuan sneered. What misunderstanding? The truth was that Shi Shujing had betrayed him, and his father had forced him to be a coward, causing him to be ridiculed by others. In this life he had never suffered such vexation. Seeing that the father and son were about to turn against each other because of her, this woman actually did not say a word. She completely watched their quarrel as a bystander. Was her heart cold-blooded? Or perhaps this was her purpose. She said that she wanted revenge, which included sowing discord between the father and son. She even hoped that the father and son would split so that she could replace them and take over blue sky. How wishful thinking was really good. But she had underestimated him. This time he did not catch the adulterer in bed. But he believed that she could not be so lucky every time. If she walked too much at night, she would eventually meet a ghost. He was waiting for the day when she would show her true colors. Since the misunderstanding has been cleared, then this matter ends here. Next, I'm going to ask Mr. C out for a meal to apologize to him. In the afternoon, Qin Baiyuan's apology was entirely to say those words to satirize Mr. C. At the same time, he was also acting in front of the reporters. Making him apologize in private was absolutely unacceptable. He was framed and he still had to apologize to the adulterer? How could there be such a reason? Impossible. If you want me to apologize to him, I'll have to die. Shi Shujing trembled. It was rare for him to stand on the same front as Qin Baiyuan, so he echoed. That's right, Dad. Since the misunderstanding has been cleared, there's no need to trouble Mr. C anymore. When the time comes, we'll be afraid that the reporters will write nonsense. Moreover, Mr. C is a man with great tolerance. He won't take these things to heart. Of course you'll say that. Qin Baiyuan sneered. I think you're just feeling guilty and afraid of giving yourself away. Shi Shujing did not pay attention to him. Now that the cooperation between Blue Sky and Ocean Group is not clear, I'm going to do it personally. Maybe Mr. C will do me a favor and facilitate this cooperation. In short, I naturally have my reasons for doing this. Just do as I say. Shujing, you'll be in charge of contacting Mr. C. But Dad, just do it? I didn't ask for your opinion. Yin Jingqi interrupted her. She naturally knew what Shi Shujing was afraid of. The more guilty Shi Shujing was, the more she wanted to force him. In short, as long as the cooperation was not settled, Shi Shujing would still be of use to her. When he caught the evidence of betrayal and signed the contract, he would kick her out of the door. That night, Shi Shujing was so upset that he did not call Si Wenqin. It was not until the next day that Qin Yuning urged her several times that she had no choice but to call him. She was so nervous that she held her phone tightly. The call went through and Si Wenqin's mellow and deep voice came through. I'm Si Wenqin. Boss CI? I'm Shi Shujing. His voice trembled violently. I know. I saved your number. I just didn't expect that you would take the initiative to call me. Did the Qin family make trouble for you? Shi Shujing hated his hypocritical concern. He closed his eyes and told himself that now was not the time to care about this. He sank his chi into his pubic region and asked, Are you free tomorrow night? Are you asking me out? It's my father-in-law's suggestion. He wants to apologize to you in person. Is that necessary? If you're not free, I'll tell him. No, I'm free. The last glimmer of hope was extinguished. To you? I'm free at any time. Shi Shujing's entire body was trembling as she hurriedly said, I'll inform you of the time and place by text message. He hung up the phone and broke out in a cold sweat. Shi Shujing's family arrived at the hotel in advance. Although it was Qin Yuning who had just proposed to meet, he was not in a very good mood. In such a situation, he had tried his best to understand Shi Shujing and believed in her. But after all, it was a big family, and the importance of reputation was self-evident. Therefore, his idea was to personally solve the problem as best as possible. If the situation permitted, they could still talk about cooperation. In his annoyance, he did not forget to remind Qin Baiyuan not to speak carelessly later. Qin Baiyuan was holding his mobile phone and playing games. He did not raise his head and snorted. "I've said what I should say. What else can I say? Anyway, you don't believe me. How dare you talk back? Bastard. If you hadn't exposed Mr. C's identity, would I need to put down my old face and apologize to him? If you can do it, you have to admit it. What do you mean by being a coward? No one asked you to treat him to dinner, but you insisted as if I was happy." Qin Yuning could die of anger. Ignoring this unfilial son, he turned to see Shi Shujing in a daze and asked, "What's wrong? You don't look right." Without waiting for her to speak, Qin Baiyuan said in a strange tone, "What's wrong? You're guilty. Shut up." "I'll shut up. I'll be mute later and not say anything." "Okay." "You..." Shi Shujing could not stand it anymore and reminded him in a low voice, "Dad's heart is not good. Don't make him angry anymore." "Yes. You're the most considerate." "Hypocritical." Qin Baiyuan mocked in a frivolous manner. Chapter 88. Shi Shujing's face alternated between red and white. He felt that Qin Baiyuan was really annoying, so he didn't say another word. In this unpleasant atmosphere, the waiter knocked on the door and then two people walked in. Si Wenxin and Sarah. Under the dazzling lights, they looked like a perfect couple. Objectively speaking, even a mixed-race beauty like Sarah standing next to Si Wenxin still seemed to be climbing up the social ladder. This was because it was difficult to say what kind of woman was worthy of Si Wenxin's identity. Only by standing next to him could they complement each other and not climb up the social ladder. After all, for a man of his identity, unless it was a particularly well-matched young lady, they were more like his clothes. They were just accessories. Those who were beautiful were just used to add color. Si Wenxin's gaze fell on Shi Shujing. Their gazes briefly met and she quickly looked away. She seemed a little uneasy as she picked up the glass and took a sip of water. "Mr. C. Nice to meet you." Qin Yuning went up to greet him and extended his hands very solemnly. Si Wenxin put one hand in his trouser pocket and let go of Sarah with the other. He shook hands with Qin Yuning. He had always been the kind of person who wasn't arrogant, so he nodded. "Co Qin. Qin Baiyuan. Why aren't you coming over to say hello?" Qin Yuning gave him a look, but Qin Baiyuan just couldn't stand Si Wenxin's high and mighty posture. Moreover, a man's self-esteem was very strong, especially when it came to competing with his rival in love. It became even more intense. In front of Shi Shujing, Qin Baiyuan didn't want to deliberately curry favor with Si Wenxin, or to say that his status was lower than his, so he pretended not to hear and continued to play with his phone. Qin Yuning's expression was very ugly. In order to resolve this embarrassment, Shi Shujing walked forward, but subconsciously kept some distance from Si Wenxin. "Mr. C." She did this purely because she did not want Qin Yuning to lose face. When she greeted him, she did not look at Si Wenxin. Her gaze was somewhat erratic. On the other hand, when Si Wenxin looked at her, his attitude was even better than when he looked at a heavyweight like Qin Yuning. He smiled. "Manager, sure we meet again." He took the initiative to extend his hand. Under the light, the hand's fingers were slender and beautiful, and the career line on his palm was very long. It showed that he was a very wise man. Of course, there was no need to study the career line. Everyone knew how powerful Si Wenxin was. The more he got to know him, the more Shi Shujing felt that he was not as simple as he seemed. No matter how gentlemanly and elegant he looked in the business world, he was a shrewd man. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine, and he broke out in a cold sweat. "Shi Shujing?" Qin Yuning whispered to her. Only then did she come back to her senses. She found that Si Wenxin's hand was still stretched out in front of her, as if he would not give up until she shook hands with him. And it gave her a very dangerous feeling, as if once that hand was held, it would be very difficult to shake it off. She subconsciously bit her lip but still compromised. When his rough fingertips slid across her palm, it was as if an electric current was running around. Shi Shujing shivered and quickly pulled her hand back. She was angry that he was teasing her in front of her father-in-law, but she could only force herself to remain calm. From Sarah's angle, she should have seen this detail, but Shi Shujing could not care so much. In a situation where she was besieged on all sides, how could she be in the mood to care about Sarah? Si Wunshin retracted his hand, and the corners of his mouth curled up again. He was quite pleased with himself for succeeding in his mischievous prank. His posture was very frivolous. Others might not be able to see it, but Shi Shujing felt that this man was simply bad. The four of them sat down. Shi Shujing's seat was opposite Si Wunshin. She kept her head down and pretended to look at the menu, but she could not avoid the constant, malicious gaze from the other side. Si Wunshin was such a person. He was very good at multitasking. On the surface, he was listening to Sarah's words with a very gentle and patient look, but his eyes were constantly examining Shi Shujing. Of course, he concealed it very well. If it was not someone who had dealt with him many times, they would definitely not be able to smell the strangeness between him and Shi Shujing. After ordering the dishes, Qin Yuning raised his wine glass and said that he wanted to apologize to Si Wunshin for the rumors of betrayal. There's no need to apologize. It's just a misunderstanding. I explained it very clearly in the hotel. Qin Baiyuan suddenly sneered. Misunderstanding? Qin Yuning's gaze darkened again. However, in this kind of situation, if the father and son quarreled, it would only make the Qin family even more embarrassed. Qin Baiyuan put down his legs and leaned forward. His gaze was still frivolous as it moved back and forth between Si Wunshin and Sarah. Mr. C and our company's great beauty, Sarah, are dating? No wonder it's a misunderstanding. He doesn't want a young and beautiful mixed-blood beauty and comes to provoke someone else's wife. A normal man really wouldn't be able to do such a thing. Unless there's something wrong with his brain, don't you think? His fingers danced around the rim of the goblet. His movements were slow, but there was an indescribable sense of danger to him. However, Si Wunshin smiled. His face was not tense at all. Instead, it stretched out beautifully. I'm afraid it's not appropriate to compare your own wife with other women. No matter how beautiful the women outside are, they can't compare to the one at home, right? What's more, Manager Shi is a rather charming woman. Any man who gets her is a blessing of 3 lifetimes. A normal man wouldn't be blind to abandon his beautiful wife and endlessly tangle with those vulgar women outside. Originally he intended to mock him, but he did not expect to be countered by the same trick. Qin Baiyuan was immediately extremely unhappy. What he could not stand the most was that Si Wunshin deliberately pretended to be a gentleman, but behind his back, he did all kinds of disgusting things. Hypocrite. He could not squeeze out half a word for a long time after being asked a rhetorical question. In the end he gritted his teeth. Thank you for your concern, Mr. C, but no man knows better than me how good Shi Shujing is. Of course I will cherish her. Qin Yuning smelled the tense atmosphere between the two. He was even more annoyed that Qin Baiyuan did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. He even dared to provoke Mr. C. He was too well protected by him. He was used to being a prince in the blue sky. He thought that the blue sky was the whole world. He was not afraid of anything. But what kind of person was Mr. C? He had only entered Quicksand City for a few years, but he had already established a solid foundation. How could he be an ordinary man? The outside world speculated that not only was his personal ability outstanding, but he also had a huge family behind him. His background was unfathomable. Even he had to give him some face. His son was really a bastard. To prevent the situation from worsening, Qin Yuning had to open another topic. It's rare for Mr. C to be so magnanimous and not care about it. Indeed, those messy rumors are just fabricated by the reporters. It's not worth paying attention to. The most important thing is the cooperation between the two families. If the project can reach an agreement, that would be great. Si Wunshin said. I have already made it very clear to Manager Shi. I admire her very much, so I will definitely sell her face. Before Blue Sky hands over the final plan, my company will not make a decision. Therefore, whether we can cooperate or not depends on the plan of your company's design department. I will not change my decision at the moment. Qin Yuning was a little surprised. After all, Blue Sky was still weak in the real estate industry. With the strong strength of the Ocean Group, coupled with Si Wunshin's swift and decisive means, they should have chosen other companies long ago. In business, time is money. The earlier the project started, the greater the profit. There was no need for Si Wunshin to wait at all. And he also made it very clear that this had nothing to do with Blue Sky. It was purely because of Shi Shujing. At that moment he also had some doubts. What was it that made Si Wunshin like Shi Shujing so much that he did not hesitate to postpone the whole project for her? Was it just appreciation, or? Qin Yuning could not make a judgment for a moment. He pretended not to think much about it and quickly nodded in agreement. That's good, that's good. Whether it's for Shi Shujing's sake or for someone else's sake, it's a good thing for Blue Sky. I will definitely personally supervise and strive to come up with a plan as soon as possible. I will not let Mr. C down. At this point, Qin Baiyuan suddenly interrupted. Since this project is so important, why don't I join as well? As he spoke, he put his arm around Shi Shujing's shoulder. I can't bear to let my wife fight alone. It's too hard. Si Wenqin narrowed his eyes, and a strange look flashed across his eyes. After all, Shi Shujing and Si Wenqin were not fools. The two of them knew very well why Qin Baiyuan had interfered. However, Si Wenqin's attention was firmly attracted by Qin Baiyuan's hand on Shi Shujing's shoulder. He felt very unhappy. Shi Shujing was not used to Qin Baiyuan's sudden surprise attack. It gave her a very insulting feeling. It was obvious that he was putting on a show, but he still wanted to drag her along to be his puppet. She felt very embarrassed and could not raise her head in front of Si Wenqin. Several pairs of eyes were watching. Of course, it was not good for her to struggle, but she could not help but say. Currently the design department is busy. There's no need to trouble you. No need? Of course she didn't need it. With Si Wenqin's support, who else could this woman tolerate? Who else did she need? Qin Baiyuan thought unhappily. The 5 fingers that held her shoulder tightened, and Shi Shujing's little face turned pale in pain. That's true, but there are still many things to be busy. Blue Sky's projects, big and small, are all handled by me, not to mention such a big project. It's better for me to do it myself. My dear wife, how can I bear to let you run around too much? Isn't there a saying that husband and wife are of one mind, and their sharpness can cut through gold? Qin Baiyuan said this while looking into Shi Shujing's eyes, and the distance between them was very close. He said it sorrowfully, but his tone was full of coldness, which made people shudder. Not to mention that the domineering hand was still forcefully exerting force in the dark. Shi Shujing was firmly controlled by him, as if she had no human rights. After all, Qin Yuning was Qin Baiyuan's father. He knew very well what his son was up to. This large-scale project involved hundreds of billions of dollars, so he definitely did not want Qin Baiyuan to cause any trouble and destroy the cooperation. However, it was not a good thing to say too much at a dinner party. The only thing he could do was smooth things over. Mr. C, as you can see, our Blue Sky has used all our elites for this project, he joked. Chapter 89. Shi Shujing felt as if she was sitting on pins and needles on such an occasion. Even when they were eating, Qin Baiyuan's hands were still wrapped around her shoulders. It was very inconvenient for her to move. She protested in his ear in a low voice. Can you let go of me? Qin Baiyuan knew that Si Wenqin was staring at them. He deliberately turned his head and put his lips close to her ear. His posture was very intimate, but the words he said were very unreasonable. If I don't let go, what can you do to me? Are you unhappy? If you are unhappy, then ask your adulterer for help. Anyway, he has been staring at you all night and his eyeballs are about to fall out. Shi Shujing felt that Qin Baiyuan was like a hooligan, who was extremely hateful. At such a close distance, even the smallest pores on her face could be seen clearly, not to mention her wretched and embarrassed appearance. This slightly alleviated Qin Baiyuan's hatred. He thought unwillingly in his heart that this woman could do something to betray him, so he would definitely not let her have an easy time. He wanted the project, and at the same time he wanted to achieve the purpose of severely punishing this woman. She was not naive to think that she could trample on his self-esteem and scrupulously just because she was close to Si Wenqin. Shi Shujing was far from qualified. Shi Shujing's hands were clenched into fists, and her nails were pinched tightly. She was a little angry. How can I get food if you are like this? What do you want to eat? I'll feed you. Shi Shujing couldn't bear it anymore. She stood up directly. Her action was a little abrupt, but she had had enough and couldn't care about that. I'm going to the bathroom. She hurried into the bathroom and finally could take a breath. But she still felt that those people were everywhere, which made Shi Shujing quite annoyed. She looked at herself in the mirror and frowned deeply. She was like an ant on a hot pan, anxious and restless. But when she thought about it carefully, what was she uneasy about? Step by step, she had been forced into this situation. She didn't have the slightest bit of freedom to choose. She really couldn't understand the rules of this world. Was it that men could do whatever they wanted just because they had power and influence? And no matter how hard a woman worked, she would always be a man's toy. She had no dignity and no right to choose. She felt very sad for herself. After complaining to himself for a while, Shi Shujing had no choice but to go back and face it. He could only escape temporarily, but he could not escape from such an environment. He could only brace himself to bear it. She washed her hands, dried them, and walked out of the bathroom. When she passed the corridor, a hand suddenly reached out from behind the door and pulled her out. Then the door was closed and her body was pressed against the door. The world in front of his eyes spun, and he had no time to react to what had happened. A familiar scent of tobacco filled her nostrils. She realized who it was and instinctively reached out to push, but the hand was faster than her. With a little force, her wrists were locked behind her back. The corridor in the hotel was magnificent, but the guests couldn't see the corridor. There was only a dim light bulb and the light was very dim. Si Wenshin's face was pressed down under the dim light. One hand was holding her wrists, the other hand was holding her chin, and he narrowed his eyes. Still want to run? His voice was gentle and low, but it was very oppressive. What are you doing? Let go. Si Wenshin. You, Si Wenshin? You sound so nice when you say my name. He gently twitched the corner of his mouth, narrowed his eyes and leaned closer. Say it again? I like it. When this name comes from your mouth it's very pleasant. Because they were very close, when his nose opened and closed, his voice had a strong nasal sound. It was very seductive, and it made Shi Shujing's spine feel numb, and she trembled violently. It was hard to imagine that a man could have such two different appearances. Just now in the private room he was dignified and solemn. He was a gentleman, as if he didn't care about anything and was not interested in anything. Nothing was worthy of his eyes. But now he suddenly turned into a frivolous devil. Every gaze, every smile were filled with evil. When he smiled, he revealed his white teeth, like the fangs of a wild beast. The emotions in his eyes were so unfathomable, and it was hard to guess what kind of terrible things he would do in the next second. Let go of me. Shi Shujing's hands were now locked behind his back and he was very passive. Moreover, without his hands to resist, his strong chest was stuck to her, and she felt extremely insecure. She hated being stuck so closely to him. His breath, mixed with the smell of smoke, sprayed on her face and his eyes were very dangerous. But Shi Shujing was very anxious now, and she even wanted to throw caution to the wind and curse at him. Si Wenshin, you bastard, get lost. But those curses were silent, and she didn't have the courage to break through the last restraint. When the words reached her mouth, she finally clenched her teeth and forced them back. Let go. Hee. Let go? Is this your usual act? You're the one who provoked me again and again, but in the end, it seems like I'm forcing you. Today you're the one who contacted me and I'm here. So, what do you mean by asking me to let go? Shi Shujing didn't understand why Si Wenshin would be so shameless and unreasonable tonight. Perhaps it was because of the alcohol. His words now had a kind of alcohol-catalyzed taste, and every word was especially fiery. Shi Shujing twisted her wrist, and just one or two movements made her very tired. She had no choice but to stop resisting, because she could clearly feel that the more she struggled, the tighter his grip became, and she was starting to feel a little pain. She definitely didn't have the slightest advantage in terms of physical strength to fight against him. I told you it was my father-in-law who asked me to contact you tonight. Why him? Could it be that he already knows about our relationship, and has the intention to send you to me? Don't think too much of me. Again, I have nothing to do with you. Shi Shujing emphasized every word. Nothing to do with me? Si Wenshin's hand moved down her neck and landed on her collarbone, his movements very gentle. This hand touched you and I also kissed you. Do you remember? Shi Shujing hated Si Wenshin for treating her like this. If she didn't need the Qin family to bear the responsibility for her, she would definitely slap him mercilessly and loudly scold him for being shameless. But she didn't dare because she couldn't afford to provoke Si Wenshin. If she dared to do anything that offended him, he would make everyone around her die with her. This world was so unfair. She had no power or influence, so she could only be at the mercy of others. It was very sad, extremely sad. Shi Shujing gritted her teeth for a long time, and forcibly squeezed out a very weak sentence. What you're doing is wrong. Si Wenshin wanted to laugh. Now you want to educate me what's right and what's wrong. The voice with a faint smile seemed to be mocking her for not knowing the immensity of heaven and earth. Of course, Shi Shujing knew that she didn't have the qualifications to educate Si Wenshin. What kind of person was he? He was used to strategizing and doing whatever he wanted. In his world, there was no set of standards to distinguish between right and wrong. The difference only depended on whether he wanted it or not. Then let me tell you what's right. If I want it, I will take it at all costs. This is right. But you resist me, this is wrong and very stupid. If everyone was like you, the whole world would be in chaos. Shi Shujing tried to speak righteously, but the words that came out were very shaky and she couldn't control it. You're wrong? Si Wenqin shook his head, and there was a trace of cruelty hidden in the bottom of his eyes. This is a world where the weak are prey to the strong, and there is a clear hierarchy. It's because the power is concentrated in the hands of a small group of people that the world is not in chaos, and you can still stand in front of me safely. So, you should be grateful to me. I don't want to hear you say this. I'm not an object that you have to give me if you want it. I'm a human and I have my own thoughts. You can't control me. So what if you get me? You'll never get my heart and you'll be despised by me. What Si Wenqin did next scared Shi Shujing so much that she screamed, because he actually lifted her whole body up. Let go of me. Let go. Shi Shujing's whole body was almost in a state of hanging in the air. Her eyes were red and tears were about to flow out. Why are you having such a big reaction? Si Wenqin sneered complacently, and his beautiful eyebrows were similar to Satan's. Ah! Shi Shujing screamed, and she was like a sparrow waiting to be slaughtered, struggling for help. After all, Shi Shujing was a woman, and there was a huge gap between their physical strength. All her struggles were useless. And Si Wenqin was a strong man. As long as he had his eyes on someone, he would never allow any accident to happen. She was just an ordinary woman, so how could she think that she could resist him? Si Wenqin let go of her wrist, but she was already exhausted and did not have the strength to continue to fight with him. As long as his body exerted a little strength, he could easily suppress her. Both feet landed on the ground, and it also slightly called back Shi Shujing's reason. That sharp disgust surged up again, and it appeared in her eyes without any concealment. Boss Si, you're a man of status, so why do you keep pestering a married woman? Do you think this is interesting? Using the last bit of dignity he had left, he spoke righteously. Do you think I'll do something that's not interesting? Si Wenqin let out a deep laugh. His nasal voice was getting deeper and hoarser. Without giving her any time to breathe, his fingers had already gone through her hair and cupped the right side of her face. I'm not the only one who keeps pestering you. From the beginning, you were the one who took the initiative. But I did it for the project and you. Chapter 90. His merciless provocation made Shi Shujing feel very embarrassed. She should have thought of it a long time ago. What kind of man was Si Wenqin? How could he not understand her thoughts? Trying to scheme in front of him was no different from showing off before an expert. It was extremely laughable. It was undeniable that in so many projects she had negotiated, more or less because she was a woman, she did have a certain advantage. She did not sell herself, but as a woman she was given some convenience. You used me and didn't give me any benefits. Tell me, how can there be such a good thing? Si Wenqin's eyes were cold. I am a businessman and I will never do a losing business. Shi Shujing stabilized her trembling body, and a sarcastic smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. In other words, if I don't get along with you, no matter how good the Blue Sky project is, you won't sign the contract? If that's the case, please make it clear now. Don't waste the labor of our company. This is just a game to you, but the colleagues in the design department stay up late every day. They have been working hard for this goal. Please don't play tricks on them. I also tell you very clearly that I am Qin Baiyuan's wife. I will not sell myself for the project. You want me to get along with you? Don't even think about it. Shi Shujing pushed hard after saying that, but as soon as her hand grabbed the handle of the door, it was grabbed by Si Wenqin again and pressed against the door again. This movement was fierce. His long arms supported on the right side of her body, like a beast that could attack at any time. Si Wenqin frowned coldly. Did I mention that I don't like you talking to me with this attitude? Then do you think I like being blocked in the corner and listening to such words? My father-in-law and husband are still waiting for me in the box, and your girlfriend is also there. What you are doing is very troubling to me. I ask you to let me go. Let you go? Sure. Then there is no need to talk about the project. But judging from your father-in-law's attitude, if the project fails, he will be very disappointed. Otherwise, he won't have to put down his old face and apologize to me personally. I heard that your father-in-law loves you very much, even more than Qin Baiyuan. You are such a loyal woman, so I guess you can't bear to see his dream fail. Si Wenqin is really hateful, Shi Shujing thought, gritting his teeth. He was too good at grasping the weakness of human nature and poking at people's Achilles' heel. As for himself, he was so strong that he had no weakness. Thus, she didn't even have a weapon to resist and could only let him violate her again and again. Looks like I was right. A sentimental woman like you is really cute. My interest in you is not in vain. Do you know how charming it is for a woman to pretend to be strong and desperate? Si Wenchen said it very affectionately. He felt that all his bad habits, all the arrogance that he had never realized before, were all provoked by this woman. He felt that it was very novel to see this strange side of himself, and he didn't feel repelled at all. The man took off her annoying glasses, and that originally beautiful and moving face was revealed. Her eyes were filled with panic, and her lips unconsciously opened and trembled. She looked so innocent that it made people want to tear her apart. After staring at that pair of lips for a few seconds, Si Wenchen couldn't control himself, and he didn't want to suppress himself anymore, so he suddenly kissed her. Si Wenchen felt that he must have been under this woman's spell, otherwise he wouldn't have remembered it for 8 years and 1 night. Just when Shi Shujing was about to fall, there was a rush of footsteps outside the door, and then someone pushed the door open. Shi Shujing was like a bird startled by the twang of a bowstring, and she kept twisting her body. Si Wenchen held her waist with one hand, but it seemed that he was dissatisfied with her distraction, and he bit her thin lips hard. Ugh! A muffled sound was swallowed by him. The person outside was still pushing the door, and after kicking it twice he cursed. Who closed the door? Damn it! In panic, Shi Shujing recognized that it was Qin Baiyuan's voice, and her movements became more and more intense, but the man on top of her was unmoved, still entangled with her lips, and seemed to laugh hoarsely, and the hand that was originally wrapped around her waist began to pinch and rub other places. Shi Shujing was about to cry, and she was so humiliated that she couldn't wait to die. Tears welled up in Shi Shujing's eyes, and she clenched her teeth, not allowing herself to make a sound. Qin Baiyuan couldn't open the door, so he simply picked up the phone by the door. It seemed that he wanted to hide here to answer the phone. It's me. Just say it like this. His voice was very impatient, and he was extremely irritable. Have you thought it through? When are you going to the hospital? I'll arrange it for you. Damn. Give birth? Are you kidding me? Su Jixin, I've told you very clearly this child can't be kept. Oh. It was like a bolt from the blue. Shi Shujing's eyes widened in shock, and she couldn't believe what she had heard. Si Wenchen also stopped moving, and his lips paused beside her ear, and with a gloating tone, he let out a cold laugh. I don't want children now, including that bitch, and I can't let her get pregnant. I don't care what you think, I will never keep this child. Qin Baiyuan was so angry that he cursed a few more times, and he even kicked the door heavily to vent his anger, and then he left. In the dim light, Si Wenchen looked at Shi Shujing, and a drop of tears fell from the corner of her eyes, and she sadly closed her eyes. The silent tears made him feel even more distressed, as if there was a hand tearing his heart. He never knew that another woman's emotions could affect him so deeply. In that kind of emotion there was pity and love for her, and at the same time, there was also jealousy for Qin Baiyuan. He didn't understand why did such a scumbag deserve her love. The noise quieted down, and Si Wenchen let go of Shi Shujing, lowered his head and slowly kissed the tears on her face. Carefully, cherished and gentle. On the way back the atmosphere was very depressing. Qin Baiyuan was in charge of driving, and from time to time he glanced at Shi Shujing through the rearview mirror. She lowered her head as if her soul had left her body, and her little face was pale under the illumination of the passing car lights. No one knew what she was thinking in her mind, as if she was in a daze. Seeing her like that, Qin Baiyuan couldn't help but feel angry. He really couldn't understand a woman who betrayed him. How could she look like she had been wronged? Where did she get such good acting skills, and where did she get such thick skin? It was simply outrageous, and the more he looked at her, the more he hated her. Shujing, Shujing, Qin Yuning called twice, and Shi Shujing raised her head in a daze as if she hadn't recovered from her absent-mindedness. When she responded, she was also slow. What's going on tonight? You've been absent-minded? It's obvious your soul has been taken away by Si Wenchen, Qin Baiyuan, who was sitting in front of him, said sarcastically. Even his nasal voice was especially sarcastic. Shut up. No one asked you to speak. Qin Yuning's expression didn't look good either, and it was gloomy. You almost messed up today. What did I do? You asked me to accompany him to dinner, and I did. Moreover, I didn't speak carelessly, and I even took the initiative to join the project. What did I do wrong? Qin Yuning was so angry that he couldn't speak for a few seconds. It was really unfortunate that such an arrogant bastard had appeared. How could he be at ease in handing over the company to him in the future? However, right now, Qin Yuning was more worried about something else. After pondering for a while, his tone was a little low. Xu Jing, since Mr. C has indicated that he is giving you face, then you will continue to be in charge of the Ocean Group's project. However, I think you also know that he is not a good person. In order to avoid any trouble, try your best to have less contact with him outside of work in the future. Don't give those reporters a chance to write nonsense. Qin Yuning said that he was afraid of attracting the attention of the reporters. In fact, Shi Shujing knew that he had probably begun to suspect her relationship with Si Wenqin. The Qin family and the Shi family had always been very close in the past, and Qin Yuning especially loved her just like her father. How could a father not understand his daughter? Moreover, Si Wenqin's performance was quite obvious. Who wouldn't be suspicious? She understood that Qin Yuning was still on her side. He chose to believe her, and his words were very tactful. It was precisely this attitude of treating her as his own that made her feel even more ashamed. Her heart was already bitter, and this time her throat was even more sore. As soon as she opened her mouth, she choked. I got it. Qin Baiyuan also knew how to read people's expressions. He knew that Qin Yuning was in a bad mood, so he didn't dare to send them home and leave immediately. Moreover, his heart was very stifled right now. He still had something to ask Shi Shujing, so he followed him upstairs. As soon as he closed the door, his bad attitude was revealed. How do you feel about seeing the adulterer today? You're really calm. In front of my father, you're really good at pretending. But do you think you can hide it from the world? I saw the two of you flirting with each other. Do you think I'm dead? Shi Shujing, you really are A**TC. For a woman to be as despicable as you is, it's really amazing. A series of sharp questions popped out of Qin Baiyuan's mouth like a cannon, and he didn't even gasp for breath. However, Shi Shujing completely ignored him. After returning to her room, she took her clothes and was about to enter the bathroom when Qin Baiyuan blocked her way. I'm talking to you. Stop pretending to be deaf and dumb. Do you think that if you don't say anything you can pretend that nothing happened? Tell me, where did you go during the meal? Did you go to see Si Wenqin? You're really good. Where were the two of you? What did you do? Tell me. The series of questions made Shi Shujing's already fragile nerves on the verge of collapse. However, she didn't want to quarrel with him, so her voice was unusually cold. Get out of my way. This is my house. Are you qualified to tell me to get out of the way? Who do you think you are? Do you really think that you're so great just because you've become Si Wenqin's toy? You don't care about the whole Qin family, do you? What? You begged me to marry you in the past and now you don't like me? If you want to use me as a springboard, you should look in the mirror and see what kind of trash you are. Tell me clearly, what did you and Si Wenqin do? Shi Shujing completely lost control. She threw her pajamas on the floor and took a step forward. She raised her head and stared at Qin Baiyuan aggressively. Chapter 91. You? Qin Baiyuan was so angry that he raised his hand. Unexpectedly, before the slap fell, he was pushed by Shi Shujing. He was caught off guard and took 2 steps back with his eyes wide open in shock. How dare you push me? Did you take the wrong medicine tonight and go crazy? I don't want to see you. Get out of here. What did you say? You call me? Before he finished his words, Shi Shujing rushed over and pushed him several times like a fighting cock. He was forced to the door by her. Qin Baiyuan stopped and stood still. He couldn't believe what he had heard, and his 2 thick eyebrows were tightly knitted. You want to drive me away? Qin Baiyuan stopped at the door. He couldn't recognize this crazy woman in front of him. His 2 thick eyebrows were tightly knitted and his face was cramping with anger. Yes. You don't want to stay here, do you? I don't want to see you. I feel disgusted when I see you now. Get out. Be clear. This is my home. You don't want to go? Then I'll go. Qin Baiyuan grabbed her and growled with gritted teeth. What's wrong with you in the middle of the night? Yes. I'm crazy. I'll marry you only if I'm crazy. For the first time, Qin Baiyuan clearly realized that this woman actually loathed him and disliked him. This was something that he found extremely difficult to accept. It wasn't that he was born into a wealthy family and was spoiled since he was young. His personality was extremely conceited and arrogant, and it was difficult for him to endure this kind of vile treatment. It was more because this disgust came from Shi Shujing. He felt that he was like an old toy. She used to like him very much and tried her best to get him, but now she had a more interesting toy, so she hated him and didn't want him anymore. How could he, Qin Baiyuan, bear to be discarded like an old toy, especially by the woman he hated the most? His proud self-esteem was ravaged like never before. Qin Baiyuan was so angry that he wanted to kill her. His entire body was trembling, and the 5 fingers that were grabbing her wrist kept tightening until his knuckles turned white. Qin Baiyuan's anger had reached its peak, and he felt like he was about to explode. Alright. You're amazing. Are you looking down on me just because you hooked up with Si Wenxin? Do you really think he likes you? He's just playing with you. So what if I am? Even being played by him is better than staying with you. Qin Baiyuan furrowed his brows even more, and the veins on his forehead throbbed. What do you mean? You want a divorce? The word yes was at the tip of her tongue, but Shi Shujing forcefully swallowed it back down. She didn't know why she couldn't say this word. She gritted her teeth. Do whatever you want. She struggled fiercely. Either you scram or let me go. Let go, bastard. Let go of me. Her movements were as fierce as a fighting cock, and Qin Baiyuan gradually lost control because he couldn't do it. He gave her a hard slap, and in a rage he threw her to the ground. Shi Shujing slammed into the carpet like a broken doll that had been mercilessly thrown away. Her hair was scattered messily. She lowered her head and her eyes were red. Her heart hurt, but she couldn't squeeze out a single tear. Just now in the corridor in front of Si Wenxin, she had already shed all her tears. When she heard about Su Zhixin's pregnancy, she really felt like the sky was falling. Everything was over and she was in despair. Even living had lost its meaning. Instead of suffering every day and struggling at death's door, she would rather die and end everything. If you want a divorce, sure. I don't care what you do, you can do whatever you want to do to settle the Ocean Group's project. You've really grown wings. Our Qin family can't afford to raise a golden phoenix like you, right? Then scram. I don't want to look at you anymore. Jinx. Qin Baiyuan slammed the door and went out while cursing. Qin Yuning walked over. What are you arguing about in the middle of the night? I heard the sound. That woman is crazy, bitch. Before Qin Baiyuan could finish cursing, he was slapped hard in the face. He opened his eyes wide in shock, not daring to believe it. Ever since he was young, no matter how angry Qin Yuning was, he had never made a move on him, let alone slapped him. Just now he had been bullied by Shi Shujing and now he was slapped again. Qin Baiyuan flew into a rage. It's clearly her fault, yet you hit me? Are you muddle-headed? I'm not muddle-headed. I can clearly see who's right and who's wrong. Bullshit. The truth is that Shi Shujing betrayed you, but you're still protecting her. He shouted crazily. His voice passed through the door and entered Shi Shujing's ears. The corner of his mouth curled into a bitter smile. Shi Shujing is a good woman, but you don't know how to cherish her. Look at what you've done in the past 2 years. Qin Yuning was heartbroken. Are you worthy to be her husband? I'm not worthy? That's because I don't want to marry her at all. You should ask yourself, are you worthy of being my father by forcing a slut to marry your son? These past few years you only know how to love her. She's pitiful, why don't you think about it? How am I doing? Not a day goes by that I'm not in pain. And all of this is thanks to you. If you like her, just marry her yourself. Why do you have to force her on me? I hate you. Qin Baiyuan roared and ran away. Qin Yuning's heart was heavy. He watched him leave and shook his head. He raised his hand and wanted to knock on the door, but after hesitating for a moment, he gave up. Right now, he didn't have the face to face anyone. It was another sleepless night. The next day, Shi Shujing really couldn't get up. Her entire body was so tired and painful. At the thought of facing Qin Baiyuan and Su Zhixin when she returned to the company, or dealing with the Ocean Group's project, she felt that the sky had darkened. For the first time, she willfully took a leave of absence and didn't go to work. Throughout the day, she received more than a dozen phone calls from Qin Baiyuan. It was more than the number of calls she received in the past 3 years of marriage. She increasingly felt that this man was really crazy. In the past, he ignored her, but now he kept pestering her, acting like a jealous husband. If it was because of jealousy, it would have been fine. However, it was because of a man's pride. He didn't want others to touch what he didn't want. It was a double blow to her. In fact, what really crushed her was the matter of Su Zhixin's pregnancy. She knew that Qin Baiyuan had many women, but he had handled them very cleanly. She had never been worried about this kind of accident, but in the end she was still careless. If you often walk by the river, how could you not wet your shoes? This kind of accident would happen sooner or later, and it was Su Jixin who died. Shi Shujing could only try her best to avoid thinking about the child. Otherwise, she would have the urge to bang her head against the wall and die. However, escaping was not a solution. After resting for a day, she still had to force herself to go back to work. After arriving at the office for about half an hour, the secretary said that Su Jixin was outside and wanted to see her. Perhaps it was out of fear and resistance, but Shi Shujing's first reaction was to not see her. It was the same several times in a row. In the end, Su Jixin rushed in and arrogantly shouted at her. Shi Shujing, what do you mean? The secretary followed Su Jixin awkwardly, and Shi Shujing signaled her to go out. She closed the door. Shi Shujing's eyes fell on Su Jixin's belly subconsciously. When she thought that she was pregnant with Qin Baiyuan's child, she couldn't help but have mixed feelings and clenched her fists. I came here 5 times in the morning, but you didn't see me. Are you putting on airs with me? Shi Shujing, who do you think you are? Su Jixin had also been very unhappy recently. She was quite irritable, especially when facing Shi Shujing. That kind of sharp hatred was like countless insects biting her heart. It was so uncomfortable that she desperately wanted to break out. Here I am, the project manager. I can see who I want to see and who I don't want to see. Who are you? How dare you break into my office? Which rule of the company says that you can break into someone else's office without permission? Su Jixin was speechless for a few seconds after being questioned by him. Finally, she shouted rudely. I can come as I like. What's it to you? Shi Shujing didn't want to argue with a barbarian, so he ignored her. Su Jixin pulled a chair and sat down. It seemed that she was going to fight a protracted battle. You asked for leave yesterday? You really know how to pick the right time. We are so busy, but you choose the busiest time to take a break and push all the work to us. Do you have any sense of responsibility? Shi Shujing thought that Su Jixin was the one who was least qualified to talk to him about responsibility in this world. Please be clear about one thing. I was the one who took over this project. I was responsible for all the work from the beginning. Did I say anything? Now there are dozens of people in the design department and the public relations department. Are they not as efficient as me? I didn't know that I was so important. Su Jixin curled her red lips and sarcastically said, Of course you're important. If it weren't for you, Mr. C wouldn't have considered working with us. He delayed the whole project because of you. Everyone in the company knows your importance. Now we are all counting on you. If it weren't for you whispering in Mr. C's ear, the people in both departments wouldn't be able to finish the project even if they worked themselves to death. Facing such an unreasonable woman, no matter how good Shi Shujing's temper was, he often had the urge to fight with her. But on the other hand, because Su Jixin was too arrogant, she felt that there was no need to lower herself to argue with this shrew. Dealing with shrews talking about principles was like playing the lute to a cow. I'm back now. I'll deal with all the work that piled up yesterday. I think you're also very busy, so let's not waste each other's time. Subconsciously, Shi Shujing wanted Su Jixin to leave because he was against her pregnancy. But what should come couldn't be avoided. Moreover, Su Jixin came for this matter, so she definitely wouldn't let it go. Crossing her hands in front of her chest, she put on an arrogant posture as if she was going to sentence Shi Shujing to death, and announced word by word, I'm pregnant. Even though it was the 3rd day since he knew the news, Shi Shujing couldn't help but turn pale. He didn't know how to find his voice and pretend to be calm. Chapter 92. What nonsense, I'm really pregnant. I've brought the pregnancy report, do you want to see it? Even if there's a report, it can't prove that the child is Qin Baiyuan's. Shi Shujing didn't expect to say such vicious words, but she was too resistant to accept it. She also wanted to protect herself, wanted to hurt the other party, and not let herself be in too miserable a situation. Su Jixin was furious when she heard this. What do you mean? You suspect that the child is mine and another man's? You've seen it too for more than a year, he's the only man I've had. When have I ever been with another man? Shi Shujing sneered. Qin Baiyuan can change female companions every 2 or 3 days, why can't you? Maybe you went to the bar to get drunk when you were sad, and something happened that shouldn't have happened. It's hard to say. After all, Qin Baiyuan has always handled his work well in that aspect. Why did he make you pregnant? You? Do you think every woman is as cheap as you, brazenly betraying him and making it known to everyone? I will never betray Qin Baiyuan. You're no better than him. You're the daughter of the Su family, but you're willing to be someone else's playmate. Have you considered the face of the Su family? Everyone in Flo's and City knows your identity. Do you think they didn't ridicule you when they talked about me behind my back? Su Jixin was very barbaric, but she was definitely not a smart woman, especially when it came to words. She couldn't take advantage of Shi Shujing at all. She gritted her teeth. Anyway, I'm pregnant now and you must divorce Qin Baiyuan. Shi Shujing pretended not to care. What show are you singing now? Using pregnancy to force me to abdicate? Have you watched too many dramas? Since I can tolerate your existence, why can't I tolerate one more child? In this world there are many men with children outside. Do you really think that you can threaten me when you're pregnant? You've been married for 3 years and you're still not pregnant. Do you think the Qin family can tolerate a hen that can't lay eggs? The child in my belly is the descendant of the Qin family, the future heir of Blue Sky. Oh, then you can discuss this matter with my father-in-law. If he wants to change you for the sake of the children, then I'll immediately give up the position of Mrs. Qin to you. Su Jixin was furious and raised her voice as she cursed. Aren't you relying on Qin Yuning to support you? Otherwise, Qin Baiyuan would have divorced you long ago. You bitch. Whatever you say. My father-in-law made it very clear that if Qin Baiyuan divorced me, he would be deprived of his inheritance. At that time, even if you have children, Blue Sky will not belong to Qin Baiyuan. What will you let him inherit? Shi Shujing's words were very unpleasant to hear, but now that things had come to this, she didn't want to suppress herself anymore. Since they had done something wrong to her, why should she wrong herself and care about their feelings? You know very well that Qin Baiyuan will never want this child. He will definitely ask you to abort it. So it's useless for you to use pregnancy to force me now. If the child is kept after 3 months, you can discuss this matter with me again. Shi Shujing's words poked Su Jixin's weakness. Sadly, she didn't have any confidence at all. Seeing that the two of them had been together for a year and still couldn't see any hope, she was very anxious. She hoped that pregnancy could change everything, so she used many methods including piercing holes in the air cover, getting Qin Baiyuan drunk and so on. She just wanted to get pregnant. Now that she was pregnant, she faced the dilemma of having to abort the child. Moreover, the Qin family would definitely not acknowledge her. For the safety of the child, she didn't dare to look for Qin Yuning. Now that things had come to this, she really had no other choice but to look for Shi Shujing in despair. It seemed that she had the advantage, but in fact she was the one who had no other way out. Under the multiple blows, Su Jixin's arrogance softened. Her eyes were a little red as she stubbornly pursed her lips. Is it interesting to marry a man who doesn't love you? Shi Shujing. You clearly know that Qin Baiyuan doesn't love you, and he will never love you. Why do you still want to occupy the position of Mrs. Qin? You call me a bitch, but do I want to? I love him so much that I lose myself. There's no other way. I also know that I'm despised by others and can't hold my head up at home, but I'd rather go against the whole world as long as he's by my side. Can you do it? No? You can't do it? You're just selfishly occupying him. You're watching him suffer because of you, but you're not willing to let him go. You're such a cruel woman. Why do you have to pretend to be virtuous? You're the one who harmed everyone. You deserve to die. I know you hate me, but the child is innocent. It doesn't matter if I'm a bitch, but I can't let the child suffer such humiliation with me. I'm begging you, let us go. You've never been a mother, so you won't understand my pain. I just want to give the baby an identity. A mother and a child. It was really pitiful. It sounded like Shi Shujing had destroyed the happiness of other people's families. In this situation, Shi Shujing could only sigh in the end. Qin Baiyuan won't let you keep the child. He won't want anyone's child. If I divorce Qin Baiyuan, it's only for myself, not for you or anyone else. It's useless to beg me. Just give up. Su Jixin forcibly suppressed her tears. Instead, a strong hatred filled every part of her body. Her red eyes stared coldly at Shi Shujing. The sharp hatred was enough to make one's hair stand on end. Every word was squeezed out from between her teeth. Fine. You're ruthless enough, but I'm not a good person either. I'm telling you, I'll make you pay. Gao Zhuqing didn't expect that Shi Shujing would take the initiative to call her to the bar. When she heard the voice coming from the other end of the phone, she thought she had misheard. After all, Shi Shujing had always been a very restrained person. He only went to the company and home every day, so it was difficult to associate him with the bar. At about 10 o'clock, she finished her work and hurried to the bar. At this time, the bar was just bustling with noise and loud music. Men and women were crazily twisting their bodies in the middle of the dance floor. When Gao Zhuqing arrived, Shi Shujing had drunk more than half a bottle of whiskey. He was drunk and scared her. "Madam, are you crazy today? You've drunk so much. I'm in a bad mood. You drink with me? Okay. You're usually too tense. I've told you that it would cause trouble. You need to relax. Today I'll drink with you to the end." Gao Zhuqing was a good drinker. She poured a glass of whiskey, drank it in one gulp, and asked the waiter to bring another bottle. "It's because of that bastard Qin Baiyuan again, isn't it? Tell me, what did he do this time?" The bar was very noisy and Gao Zhuqing had to shout loudly. "Su Zhixin is pregnant." "What?" "Su Zhixin is pregnant," Shi Shujing screamed. "Damn. Sure enough, this Su Zhixin is really a bitch. She's too shameless." Gao Zhuqing was so angry that she scolded. "Didn't that bastard Qin Baiyuan always clean things up? How did he let Su Zhixin get what she wanted? Forget it. What are you going to do? You might as well take this opportunity to divorce and help that bastard couple." I don't want a divorce." Shi Shujing's eyes were red. In front of Su Zhixin she pretended to be very strong, but deep down she was a fragile woman. When she encountered sad things, she would only hide and lick her wounds alone. "Until now, why are you still?" Gao Zhuqing was exasperated that she didn't live up to his expectations. "You're really pitiful and hateful. What should I say to you? That bastard fooled around with other women every day and now it's a child. You still don't want to give up? Don't tell me you still want to be that child's stepmother? This is so troublesome. If we divorce, that bitch will have it easy. If we don't divorce, both of us will be torturing each other. What the hell is this? It's so annoying." Shi Shujing had drunk a lot of alcohol. She was like an injured little beast, whimpering in a low voice. "Why doesn't he like me?" She pulled Gao Zhuqing, asking for an answer painfully. "What's wrong with me? Why doesn't he like me? Am I not comparable to Su Zhixin? It's not that you're not good, you're just too good." "I'm too good, but he doesn't want me?" Gao Zhuqing frowned. She didn't know if Shi Shujing could hear her in her drunken state, but she still said seriously. "You're too weak and you give in to him too much. You give in to him to the point that you don't have any personality at all. He treats you as a soft persimmon and he can do whatever he wants to you. He doesn't even treat you as something important. This isn't about whether you're good or not. The key is that he doesn't love you. If a man doesn't love you, he will think that you have ulterior motives if you treat him well. If you show concern for him, he will think that you're annoying. In short, your entire existence is a mistake. But I really try my best to love him. Is there anything I haven't done well enough? I'll just change. Why doesn't he give me a chance? What have I done wrong? Am I that disgusting to him?" Shi Shujing's cries made Gao Zhuqing's heart ache. She had lost count of the number of times Shi Shujing had complained to her. She was only a good sister to her in this lifetime, and she could empathize with Shi Shujing. She felt terrible and her heart was sour. "He doesn't love you, and he doesn't love you no matter how good you are. If you want to change your heart. Don't love him and there won't be any problems." Shi Shujing smiled bitterly and let go of him. She fell back on the sofa with tears in her eyes. "If only I could change. My heart wouldn't hurt so much. It really hurts." Sigh. Gao Zhuqing was about to comfort her when her phone rang. She saw that it was a call from her superior, and she knew that it was an emergency. "Sit down first, I'll go out to answer a call. I'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be back soon." In the semi-enclosed private room opposite, Tang Jun was hugging a beauty, but his eyes were fixed on Shi Shujing. He sat up and made a call with a smile on his face. "Where are you? Long time no see. Want to come out for a drink?" Chapter 93. You don't want to come? I wanted to tell you that I saw your sweetheart in the bar. She drank a lot of alcohol alone. I'm afraid it's not safe. It seems that it's not necessary. I won't disturb your work. He pretended to hang up the phone, but was stopped by the other party's deep voice. The other party smiled proudly and deliberately kept him in suspense. "Where am I? Why do you care where I am? You're not free anyway." The other party scolded. Tang Jun chuckled and told him the address. Unbeknownst to him, in a dark corner of the bar, a woman was hiding in the dim light. She gave a bag of medicine to the man next to her and pointed at Shi Shujing. "That's her. Do her for me tonight and take a video. This is half of the deposit. I'll give you the rest when I see the video." Remember, record it clearly for me. The man took the money and medicine and smiled strangely. It's not the first time I've done this. Don't worry. In a slightly secluded place at the entrance of the bar, Gao Zhuqing glanced at her phone. It had been almost half an hour, and her superior was still nagging endlessly on the other side. She was worried about Shi Shujing and kept walking around anxiously. Every time she tried to interrupt her superior, she was like a machine gun. She couldn't get a word in. She pinched her eyebrows and quickly said while her superior was drinking water, "Sister Zhang, I understand what you're saying. Really? I know what you're thinking. It's Spring Breeze News Agency's fault for snatching your news. But the competition in this industry is so big. Calm down. What? I'm reporting to the agency now? It's already so late. It's useless for me to go back. My friend is busy and I really can't leave. Don't make things difficult for me at this critical juncture." No matter how hard Gao Zhuqing begged, Sister Zhang asked her to go back to the agency immediately. Otherwise she wouldn't go back anymore. Sister Zhang, the other party hung up the phone. Gao Zhuqing was very anxious. At this moment, a Jaguar car sped over and splashed water on her. Gao Zhuqing was so angry that she opened her mouth and scolded. "Don't you have eyes when you drive? Don't you know how to look at the road? Bossy?" Her face changed. "Why are you here?" Gao Zhuqing's mind worked quickly, and she immediately thought of a plan to kill two birds with one stone. "Do you still remember me? I'm a friend of Shi Shujing, Gao Zhuqing. Are you free now? I'm in a hurry to get back to the news agency and Shi Shujing is drunk. Can you send her back to my house?" Si Wenchen acquiesced. He was here for Shi Shujing anyway. "That's great. You are such a good man. This is the key. I won't go back tonight, you guys take your time." Gao Zhuqing slipped away faster than a mouse after shoving the key to him. Shi Shujing had drunk a lot of alcohol and her head was dizzy. She felt a man sitting next to her, sticking close to her and talking to her. She was still conscious and she struggled a few times weakly. "You, go away, beauty, don't be like this. Seeing you drinking alone, you must be in a bad mood. How about I accompany you to relieve your boredom?" As he asked, he added some drugs into her glass. "I came here with my friend. Please leave. Don't you come to the bar to get drunk? Don't you want to have fun? Why are you so resistant?" The man kept squeezing towards her and took the opportunity to touch her hand. This woman looked old-fashioned, but after drinking a few glasses, her face was red and her eyes were misty. She was quite pretty. More importantly, he had accepted someone's money, so he had to settle this matter. "Little beauty, Big Brother knows you very well. Forget about that cheap man. Have some fun with Big Brother? Come, let's have a drink." He forced the glass to Shi Shujing's mouth and forced her to drink a few mouthfuls. Cough, cough. "Don't," she pushed him away. But he kept pestering her. Shi Shujing was anxious and struggled. "Go away. I'm going to call for help." But the music in the bar was so loud that no one could hear her cry for help. She tried very hard to get rid of him and stand up, but the man kept grabbing onto her and refused to let go. "Where do you want to go? Let's cultivate our relationship here first." The man was all smiles. "Come, give Big Brother a kiss. Go away." "Oh, help!" Shi Shujing weakly twisted her body. At this moment, the man was suddenly pulled up by a brute force. He staggered 2 steps and saw a face that was as terrifying as the Grim Reaper. With just one look, he knew that this man had a powerful background and he couldn't afford to offend him. His legs went soft and he tried to bluff. What do you want to do? If you don't want to die here, then scram." The man looked at Shi Shujing. He was thinking about money and wasn't willing to give up. But the man in front of him was very scary. If he didn't leave now, he might really die in his hands. He flung his hand away and ran away. Si Wenchen gave Tang Jun a look. He nodded and followed him out. As he walked, he even loosened his muscles. "It's been a long time since I beat someone up. Today I can finally have some fun." Shi Shujing collapsed on the sofa. She had just been frightened and her face was pale. She was still in a state of shock. Her vision was shaky and she could only see a pair of long legs in front of her. She slowly raised her head. It was a familiar face, but it was too shaky and she couldn't see it clearly. She shook her head hard and her vision became clear for a second. She saw that the person was Si Wenchen. At this moment she was in a sorry state. She looked pitiful like a frightened animal. There were still traces of tears on her face, which made Si Wenchen feel very unhappy. When he thought about how she was buying drinks for Qin Baiyuan, that piece of trash, jealousy ravaged his heart. A wave of anger rose in his chest, and he really wanted to teach her a lesson. He wanted to wake her up with a stick or whip her a few times. But in the end, he closed his eyes and suppressed the urge to tear her apart. He pulled her up from the sofa. His actions were very rough. She staggered 2 steps and fell into his arms. She bumped into his strong chest and her head buzzed as she felt even more dizzy. But she still twisted her wrists and struggled. Like a crazy little rooster, she frowned and shouted at him rudely. "What are you doing? Let go." She tried to struggle out of his arms, but she kept stumbling and couldn't escape from his chest. "Why is it you again? Are you following me?" Shi Shujing had lost consciousness and was furious. She roared at him recklessly. "Why do you keep pestering me? Are you a stalker? Why are you so annoying? Look at you now. Is it worth it for a bastard?" Shi Shujing's temples were throbbing with rage. "What does it have to do with you? Why do you care? If he's a bastard, what good are you? You're worse than him." She let out a drunken hiccup. "You men, none of you are good. Qin Baiyuan, he's better than you. At least he doesn't love me, so he won't touch me. What about you? You're just looking for something new. You scum." The words that she had been suppressing in her heart and didn't dare to say were all poured out with the help of the alcohol. Shi Shujing didn't care who he was now. If she wanted to scold him, she would scold him. She couldn't hold it in anymore. He's good? What a joke. Is he good enough to impregnate that woman? Si Wenxin sneered angrily. It was meaningless to quarrel with a drunkard. But even if it was him, there would be times when he couldn't keep his cool. All he wanted to do was to scold her to wake her up. "Shut up. I don't want to listen to you. Let go of me." Si Wenxin held her shoulders tightly, his fingers digging into her skin to imprison her. "Shi Shujing, how much more do you want to torture yourself for that scum? Do you think you can escape the truth if you don't listen? He doesn't love you. That woman is pregnant with his child. Do you understand? If you continue to drag this on, you'll only suffer more." "I don't want to listen, I don't want to listen," Shi Shujing cried and shook her head desperately. "I beg you, don't say any more. Please." Looking at her crying appearance, Si Wenxin felt hateful and pitiful. He was used to controlling everything. Only this woman was not in his control. She would rather love a scum than look at him. This made him feel a deep sense of powerlessness. However, he only let this emotion last for a short second. Si Wenxin didn't believe that he would lose. "Come with me." "I don't want to. I hate you. Stay away from me." Shi Shujing used her last bit of strength to struggle as if she had gone crazy. However, there was a great difference in strength between men and women. Not to mention that she was drunk. Her strength was no different from scratching an itch through her boots. It didn't have any effect at all. Si Wenxin only felt that her messing around made him feel annoyed. He simply carried her on his shoulder and directly carried her out of the bar. The world in front of her was spinning. Her stomach was extremely bumpy. Shi Shujing almost vomited. "Whoa, Si Wenxin. You damn bastard. Let me go." Her legs kicked wildly. When she came to the car, she still held the door with one hand and refused to get in. In the end, she still couldn't escape the fate of being forced into the car. Her head was unprecedentedly dizzy. Her whole body was so dizzy and stuffy. Fatigue and dizziness attacked Shi Shujing at the same time. Her mind was muddled and she couldn't open her eyes. The noisy environment suddenly quieted down. Her body was swaying and she felt a little suffocated. She held her dizzy head and saw that her whole body was about to fall forward. Fortunately, a hand wrapped around her waist in time and held her in his arms. She fell into a solid wall. Si Wenxin looked at her like this. He was angry and helpless. He clearly didn't want to care about her, but he couldn't help it. He frowned and didn't let go of her. "What are you talking about?" Baiyuan. Baiyuan? Shi Shujing murmured unconsciously. Si Wenxin's face turned pale and pinched her chin. "Look at me clearly, who am I?" "It hurts?" Shi Shujing was so tired that she couldn't open her eyes. But the brute force made her so painful that she was forced to open her eyes. Her vision was blurred. She looked at him in a daze as if she didn't know him. After thinking for a while, she smiled. "You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."